What it do, what the business is, man. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy DT3, the Boom Beezy, man. We back at you again with the Combat Cannon. You see it, it's me, your boy MMA Surgeon, and we have a lovely special guest in the building by the name of MMA Genie. What it do with the folk, man? Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. For those that don't know, it's your boy DT3, an MMA Best Surgeon with the Combat Cannon. Welcome to this week's show. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. Shout out to everybody that joined. What's up with the fuck? What's up, Serge? How was your weekend, bro?
Oh man, I mean, pretty good after hitting all those bets, man. I mean, I'll take that. I'll take one of those kinds of weekends, especially like I said, just a Kickstarter to start off the UFC. You know what I mean? Like just a real pace setter for the rest of the year. I think people are excited. I think this is only just ramping up the fact that we've got these 3 fight cards in 9 days just to get a main event like that. It's the real question now has to be asked, and I think it's a good way to start it off. Is any other main event? Do we think that we're going to see a main event in the next the next week that's going to top that main event?
Is it? Because I don't see certain events that's coming up soon going to top that, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But first, everybody, y'all need to say happy birthday to my boy Serge. He just made 21 or 23. He just turned 23 today. So everybody, if you got a little liquor, if you got a blunt or something, put him up, take a shot for your boy Serge. Happy birthday, Serge.
Man,
happy birthday, Serge.
Appreciate it, Genie.
You do, bro.
Genie, you already gave me one. You already said happy birthday to me last night. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Man, good health. We're gonna kick this shit off. You guys are just a part for the beginning of the ride, and I appreciate it. So everyone, hit subscribe. Come kick it with us every Tuesday, 10 o'clock.
Every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Come right here. MMA Talking News, Combat Cannon. What we got going up first, we got our boy, Pilatele, who put up a good show this past weekend. We had a beautiful night of fights this past weekend. What impressed me the most was Pilatele. He was these 2 unbeaten guys. Something that we really don't see too much in combat sports. 2 unbeatens really just going head to head, especially in the UFC. And as hard as it is to stay undefeated in the sport of MMA, to see 2 young, not just 2 undefeated guys, 2 young, hungry guys to step in the cage and fight each other and put on a hellacious night of a fight that was. I got to give props to him. Like you said prior in that fight, the guy just keeping his hands down, moving around, trying to be real slick. Punatelli is the type of fighter that throws punches from odd angles and weird angles, and he's going to catch you sooner or later. You're not going to stay away from him or keep him off of you for the whole duration of the fight, even if it is 3 rounds. We already seen that he can get you out of there within a matter of minutes within the first round. So what's your take on that, Serge? Cook on that, man.
Man, like I was saying, like one of my big underdog locks is Punahele Soriano, and shout out to Punahele Soriano as being one of those guys. Like, I'm not only a fan of him as a mixed martial artist and what he's done, what he did in as a wrestler through college. I'm more so like, you know what I mean? Like these guys, and I think it goes for anything that's being said. It's like, it's just like a Conor McGregor. It's a good example. They have to be a personable. They have to be a person. You know what I mean? You can't be a robot. You can't just be a fighter. We know that's not enough these days. You can't just be a fighter and get away with, okay, I'm a guy that goes. I mean, you can in certain cases. You know what I mean? In certain little cases, you can probably see it. You can probably make the argument. But man, I just think that I'm really impressed with what I've seen so far, and I think the sky's the limit for a guy like Punahele. I think there's a couple little areas that he has to work on. Obviously, like getting guys out of there quick. Like this is kind of, I mean, we're not seeing a ton from him, but we've seen him work before, and I think that, like I said, sky's the limit. He's a real funny person. You know what I mean? He's a guy. He's a guy you can relate to. I've seen him on a couple podcasts. We'd love to show you out Punahele Soriano when we blow up. We'd love to have you on one day. We'd love to have you on, my man MMA Genies, do an interview with you as well.
Yep.
He's an awesome guy. I would love to, shout out and reach out to you. Man, congratulations for showing people. I think the doubters, I think proving a lot of people wrong and proving your place here in the UFC, man. So, not that it already haven't been proved before, but shout out to you, man. Shout out.
Yeah,
shout out
I mean, it was crazy, the UFC matchmaking. I didn't expect them to put 2 young undefeated prospects. I thought they built them up more, but yeah, I mean, Punahele dropped him a few times. I know this might sound crazy, but I thought it was a little bit of a controversial stoppage. I mean, Dusko was going for a takedown as he got TKO'd. It wasn't really like he got dropped, but nonetheless, great performance by Punahele, obviously with Alessio De Chirico and a few other great knockouts on the card. He didn't get performance of the night, but yeah, great win over a undefeated prospect in Dusko.
Absolutely.
What do you guys see what's next for Dusko? I mean, what do you see next for him going forward? I mean, it's only one loss, and it's not like one loss can ruin your whole career. So, what do you see next for Dusko moving forward?
Man, I mean, a match against Impa Kasaganay would be nice, but then again, I go back to 2 undefeated prospects, so I don't know if the UFC wants one of them to lose a second time. So I'm not gonna say a specific name, but I'll just say probably a journeyman who he can get an easy win against, kind of get that momentum back up. You know what I mean? You know the whole deal. Prospects, they take a loss, they gotta build their record back up. So yeah, probably like I'm not gonna say a Gerald Mearshart, but someone around that level, if you know what I mean.
Honestly, I love that. I actually like that name too. I love that. You know what, Jeannie? I'm all over that. I'm all over Gerald Mearshart. I was gonna also agree with you completely on the fact that it's probably gonna be someone that's more of a journeyman, that is still gonna test him, but might be a little bit easier. And I'm not saying Gerald Mearshart's an easy guy to take out, but man, I do think that a Gerald Mearshart, that's something that's exciting. That's something that we could really we could really delve into. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I'm super excited about that. As far as let's talk about it, because I know me and you both watched it. I know it was super enjoyable. We both made our picks on it and both had a good time. Are there any other fights on the main card you would like to go over other than Punahele Soriano? Because we'll go over the main 2. But are there any other ones on the main card that you had any thoughts on?
I mean, heck, we got to go over Max Holloway. Okay, maybe I'm in the recency bias club with this one, but in my opinion, the best performance I've ever seen in UFC history. I mean, the no look punch, the slipping, the battering Calvin, and Calvin's no layup.
No,
he's no layup, but Max just showed there's levels to this, and I did pick Holloway decision, and I was super confident because Calvin, from going to Dan Ige to Max Holloway, it wasn't, it's too much of a leap. And
Too much.
the Dan Ige performance, I mean, he decisively won. He pretty much dominated it, but he didn't impress me against the Dan Ige. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Dan
Mm-hmm.
Ige's
Absolutely.
good, but if you're gonna face Max Holloway next fight, I thought it was too early of a jump for Calvin. I know he faces a beat and whatnot, but Zabit doesn't have that fast start like Max, and domination. I expected it though.
Man, I think we both probably called that domination. I think it was I had even said prior to it was going to be a kind of like exactly what you said verbatim. He was going to show him there is levels to this, and you know what I mean. Even my buddy Dan, shout out to Dan, the lieutenant. Even he said he was picking Cater. You know what I mean? Huge Cater fan, and I was kind of, me and him were going back and forth at it a little bit, and I was shocked by the end of it. I was shocked when he said he picked Cater, but he likes to quite often go against me, and that's kind of his role, as me and him kind of go against each other. So everyone could come subscribe to my channel as well, because one day this podcast may or may not be moving over here. I'm not sure how soon, but we appreciate everybody that's here so far. But yeah, I think that fight, just even go over a couple stats for Max Holloway, like number of significant strikes landed 445, significant strikes attempted 744, distance strikes landed 439. Significant head strikes landed 274, significant body strikes landed 117, significant strikes landed in a single round at 141, total strikes landed at 447, total 746 total strikes attempted. Man, like I believe that those are the records for the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
This is kind of one of those things where it's like, holy Jesus, you know what I mean?
And look,
yeah.
Everyone has their opinion. You could say, "Oh, it wasn't the best performance." Look at Conor Aldo or Conor Alvarez, but statistically, when it comes to the stats, it was the best performance. I mean, broke about every striking record in the book I can think of. What'd you guys think of the co-main event? I picked Matt Brown, of course. Mark Coleman told me he was going to go for the takedowns, which he did, but first round he got pieced up from the bottom, and then in the second and third he lost. Matt Brown was saying he thought he won the fight, which I don't know. I mean, maybe you can make a case they had a close third round, but I thought it was clear that Condit won. I mean, Condit showed great get-up game. Actually surprised me with his takedown defense, and we know where the striking advantage was going to hold.
I told y'all that Carlos Condit, athleticism, don't get me wrong, he did show some dimensions in his ground game that I didn't know that was there. I'm going to be clear. Because even in the fight, you were saying how his issue was being held against the cage while he was on his back.
Yeah.
And he still was able to get out of that shit, still was able to reverse everything and take dominant position at the top to get in a half guard. Like, he shows some real dimensions in his game. And, I mean, the dude been around for God knows how long. So, I mean, you got to put some respect on Carlos Condit's name. I told both of y'all that Condit was going to win via decision. I already said his athleticism and all that was going to be too much. I mean, even though Brown did look old, no disrespect to you, Matt. Love you. Appreciate you.
We love you, man. Legend. Absolute legend. Like I said.
You know what I mean?
Both
but
legends.
now it's like, now when we compare aging fighters, it's going to be, are you Yoel Romero old or you Matt Brown old? So that's going to be the new thing here at the Canada. But at the same time, still, I give respect where respect is due. You came in there. You went the whole fight, though. He didn't stop him. None of that. Even when it was times where you show where it may be, Condit might stop him, but Matt still bit down. He fought through it. He showed that he is a good wrestler still. You know what I mean? He showed that he ain't no slouch. You can't sleep on him. And honestly, to Matt Brown's credit, any and everybody can't beat him.
Mm-hmm.
Even some of these young cats, any and everybody can't beat him. So get your mind right. But at the same time, I said that Carlos Condit was going to win via decision. He won via decision. Honestly, I don't see him really becoming a champion, but I see Carlos Condit being a good gatekeeper right now.
Gatekeeper for the prospects. You know where it's at. Kind of, gatekeeper. That's his role now. That's his role. But I wanted to know, what do you guys think of, and look, Robbie's no up-and-coming prospect. He's been there, done that. But what do you guys think of Condit, Robbie Lawler, too?
Done. Booking it. Genie, you're on. This is why they call you the Genie. Everyone go subscribe to the MMA Genie. He's
sure.
coming up. He definitely knows these fights to book because you know what I mean. Right off the top of the head, that's like even the last one. Like I agreed with you on with the the GM3 fight. Man, I agree with you once again. I think a Robbie Lawler fight. Even right as you said the name, I go, wow, that's a perfect fight. That is let's book that fight. And in all honesty, I love Carlos Condit. I love Matt Brown. Like Boone was saying, respect to both of those guys, both legends, Hall of Famers in the UFC, absolutely. This is the one thing that bothers me. It's now we can ask another question. Is Matt Brown with his mentality, and we've all seen him. We've seen him since The Ultimate Fighter. Him have that, you know what I mean. I'm the guy kind of mentality, more so more to himself, kind of taking that ability to, you know what I mean, say, okay, be more focused about everything, and I can do this. The one thing I'm kind of worried about is, are we going to see him come back? You know what I mean? Are we going to see him try and come back in another fight, or are we going to see him retire? And I love Matt Brown, but I was kind of saying in this fight, either loser retires or we kind of do some sort of a, you know what I mean, winner fights someone else. And I think I had another name before, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. And it was a winner fights. Was it Diego?
I actually heard somewhere that this was going to be Matt Brown's last fight. The Condit fight was going to be his last.
Good.
Now,
Perfect.
I don't know if he's going to fully commit to that. Of course, no one wants to retire on a loss, but yeah, I heard multiple articles. He said this was going to be his last fight, win or lose.
Good, man. I'm happy about that. Like I said, I want to see my boy Matt Brown go down. Like, I mean, even if it's not a good low night, like you just said, Jeannie, like, it's on a loss, but at the same time, I love Matt Brown, and I just want to see him avoid injury, avoid maybe getting thrown in there with a dog. Because I think this is kind of it, people. This was the fight that, you know what I mean? Like, if you didn't stand up to Condit, if you guys weren't able to even just put on a battle, it's, you know what I mean? Like, let's call it quits here. And like I said, this is where it now kind of comes back to me, man. Fighter pay and paying these people what they're worth. Like, I want Matt Brown to have enough money to be able to say, you know what, I can step away. I don't need to say, okay, I got to come back for another fight and try and put my body on the line again. I want him to have that ability to say, you know, Condit, me and him, both legends, ended on a note that's at least a legend note. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm not a step up for a guy to get to the title or a guy to get to rank up. A guy like Condit, guy from my era. Let's throw it out on a note. Let's bang it out. Let's get it done. And whoever, you know what I mean? Like, even not even both, you know what I mean? I was even kind of saying before, I don't even mind. I mean, I know Carlos Condit showed that he's still game, but I don't mind both of them retiring. In all honesty, I think it's just the reality of where we're at, man.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love Carlos Condit, but I was even saying whoever wins, and I made the joke in my live. Whoever wins, even both of them retire. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then
I made the joke.
Even for Condit, it looks good on the Wikipedia 2-fight win streak, but you beat Court McGee. It was close. I mean, you won decisively, and then you went over a aged old past prime Matt Brown. So
Exactly.
I want Carlos Condit to retire because you know, they're gonna probably throw him to one of these prospects, and he'll probably lose. You know what I mean?
That's when he probably gonna really retire. As soon as they throw him in there with some real dog, then he gonna, because he probably thinking like, I could be champion again. I could be champion again. I can compete with these guys, and then he gonna get in there with somebody that's of a Punatele caliber and gonna get put to sleep. He gonna get fucked up. I don't think nobody can submit him. Unless y'all know something I don't know, I don't see nobody submitting him right now. But I do see
Condit can be submitted. He can't be knocked out, but he can be submitted. That knee bar to Michael Chiesa, he had that lost Maya.
It was a, and not to correct you, Jeannie.
Oh shoot, yeah, armbar. Or sorry, Kimura. It was Kimura.
Kimura. I know you got it, man. I know you know, man. I know you know. I'm just letting you get it, bro. I'm just helping you out.
Yeah,
I don't see Robbie Lawler really doing much. Don't get me wrong, I love Robbie. I was a big fan of Robbie Lawler early UFC. I thought Robbie was a dog. He still is a dog to some avail, but I think he get hit too much. And I think Carlos Condit probably, I mean, he learned from that fight. And I think he'll just pepper him, use his range. Robbie Lawler is going to probably overcommit a little too much, take a little unnecessary punishment. And I kind of see in the way that the Condit works his grounded pound, I kind of see him getting. I don't really see him controlling Robbie too much on the ground, but I do see Condit surprising people on the ground, even in a Robbie Lawler fight. And I think he would be able to control Robbie on the cage, be able to do a little sneak and cage and pound, as I like to call it. And I think from there, I think little ticky tack points, I think he'll win probably via split. I don't see him stopping Robbie Lawler. It's not too many people that's really just finna you ain't just finna just go in there and stop Robbie Lawler. And I don't see him submitting Robbie either. I see it maybe ending, if it were to happen, I see it ending in a split.
I'd probably take Robbie Lawler in that one, and then here's why, man. I mean, yeah, I take Robbie. The level of competition. I mean, even though Robbie's been losing, he's been getting dominated. To who? To Colby Covington, which was just about a year and a half ago. To Neil Magny. I mean, he's not fighting these washed up guys like Matt Brown or Court McGee. So yeah, I'd take Lawler in that one, and pretty confident in that one. It won't be a knockout, you know. One of the best chins in the game, but yeah, Lawler decision, pretty dominant, probably. I know the fight in 2015, it was close. Many people said Condit won, but this is a different Condit, and it's also a different Lawler. But I just think Lawler is the little less washed up, you know.
Do you think Robbie is going to still? Is he still a dangerous threat in the division right now?
I mean, man, these last few fights, it seems like he lost that aggression that would really make him ruthless Robbie Lawler. Maybe he can beat a Court McGee, he can beat a Condit, but these top 15 guys and even these up and comers, he'll probably just be a stepping stone. Sorry, Robbie.
Yeah, that's the whole problem. I mean, I'm a huge Robbie Lawler fan, probably as well myself. Like I'd say, like, oh man, like just always wanted to, you know what I mean, go down to ATT or wherever what his gym is in Florida, man, and drive over there and go and, you know, see him one day, you know what I mean, man, like that'd be awesome, man. Like he was a legend. Like guy was able to at a late point in his career tear his ACL and say, I'm coming back, you know what I mean, I'm coming back, don't give a shit, and I'm coming back quick, you know what I mean. And I'm like, this is probably Robbie Lawler, though. Like if you look up Robbie Lawler in the dictionary, you know, badass in the dictionary, that's probably picture of Robbie Lawler sitting right there. And the whole problem is, like, I like it's the same kind of thing with me. And what Justin was saying is, and Jeannie was saying, is kind of the whole thing is he's beat up guy. Like, man, it's a huge problem as far as I just want to see him. He's going to be that upper level, kind of more upper echelon stepping stone. I don't see him having enough to be able to offer that kind of diversity to a lot of guys that are coming up, you know what I mean, and kind of beat them in different kind of ways. Like Gene was saying, he's losing that aggression. I think he's losing that little bit of speed that kind of once made him ruthless. Like I said, love him to death, huge Robbie Lawler fan. The whole problem is that, like I said, I hope these guys are one day able to make enough money to say I'm out when I'm out, you know what I mean, and not have to keep taking fights early on, late into their careers, because it's ridiculous. It makes me upset. But yeah, go ahead, Jeannie.
I think Robbie's got that money. He just, you know, he loves fighting and whatnot. You know what I mean. Yeah.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, man.
And you know what? That leads us to go right in to the next segment of the show. Is we got the top 15 fighters that ESPN said. Who do you think out of these 15 fighters will have the better 2021? And we're going to just go down the list of the last 15 fighters, and we're going to just go on through the panel and see what you guys think of these guys, and do you think what kind of year these guys are going to have. And we're going to start off with, of course, number 15. I'm going to start off with my boy Serge. What type of year do you think Colby Covington is going to have for 2021 with a 16-2 record right now?
Man, I think it's probably going to be a great year. This is the huge problem, and I don't want it to come off wrong, or this is the thing. I like Colby Covington, and there's a reason I like Colby Covington. I've been following the guy for a long time. Don't like I'm Canadian. Don't like him because of the Trump shit. Don't like him. I know what he's selling. I know the kind of sandwich he's selling. You know what I mean? It's a chael sonnen kind of with a weird kind of mayonnaise slapped on top. You know what I mean? Like it's this spicy mayo he's got slapped on top, that kind of Brazil, you're a fucking dump. You know what I mean? Kind of mayonnaise, right? And like that's the crazy thing. And that's not quoting me. That's quoting Colby Covington. I don't think Brazil's a dump, but like you've seen it. Like he said those kinds of outrageous things, in which kind of get reactions, kind of get people going. As far as next fights, like I don't know off the top of my head what fight they're looking at Colby Covington. Actually, yes, I do. What the fuck am I saying? They're looking to book Jorge and Colby. And this was what I said to my boy Dan the other day. This is what I said. This is how you bring back the Ultimate Fighter. So the Ultimate Fighter's been done for 3 years or something like that, or 2 years or something, or a year and a half. You know what I mean? And in reality,
Ooh, did he lag or am I lagging?
Yeah.
who's got? Oh no, I'm good. I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. So you know what just happened? I was just opening up some UFC shit with the top rankings, and you know what exactly just happened?
What?
Ariel and Buddy in the bottom just took my whole thing. It just pops in with a little clip of what they said. They said the fight. They're talking about the fight. They're talking about Colby and Jorge Masvidal. But what I'm thinking is Ultimate Fighter. We're putting them on the Ultimate Fighter. Let's give them a full season in the Ultimate Fighter. What Dan said, and he made a good point to me, is because that could be a huge year for a guy like Colby Covington. You go on the Ultimate Fighter, you have the belt after that. Man, that generates tons of hype right there. The Ultimate Fighter coming back, you know what I mean? I think Colby Covington would put his name and should put his name in that slot to have that Ultimate Fighter coaching role against Jorge Masvidal, and then have that matchup at the end. I think that the whole year, the entertainment that you could sell, the kind of cuts you could make from just them shit talking each other. But my boy Lieutenant Dan did say something that was pretty insightful. He did say, they'd probably have to pay Jorge too much to do the Ultimate Fighter. And I kind of said, shit, man, you're probably right. I'm thinking, yeah, they might not be able to get the Jorge on there for, you know what I mean, the kind of deal they want to get him on. Like, I don't know what their budget is, especially with COVID right now, but they got to make some money. And I mean, something like the Ultimate Fighter, like, man, bringing it back is huge. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's my opinion. I think Colby Covington's going to have a huge year. I think that hopefully he gets that fight against Jorge and he beats him. Like I said, I'm a fan of Colby Covington for the act. He says I was with him before the whole schmuck kind of Organda, before they were going to cut him. You know what I mean? Like, I was always kind of a guy that kind of liked him a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, as far as his skill, his output, like I said, he's able to deliver top fights. So, I mean, like, I hope it's a good year for him. I think that, even at 15, I think that maybe we could even make an argument once I see more of these names that we could probably even move him up a little bit, you know what I mean? If they're able to, maybe, I don't know, think about this like I am. Put this as the Ultimate Fighter headliner. Put this as the season, Covington versus Masvidal. Do that and see how you sell. And they're like, because like, who are they going to get on there that's going to be any bigger? You know what I mean? They need to find that niche guy that they can get in there that's going to create the controversy. That's a good fight that people want to see, coaches they want to see. And I don't know. That's my opinion.
What you think about Colby Covington for this year? Before we go
so I think he's going to start off with a great year. They're probably going to book. It's basically official. Jorge Colby, February, March, somewhere around that range, and I think he'll dominate Jorge 50-45 decision, 49-46. But the problem is they'll line him up for that title shot, and I don't know if he can win. I don't know if he can beat Kamaru Usman. Kamaru seems to have that mindset. I think he has the potential to be the next GSP. I know I may be saying that a little bit too early, but with his style and his mindset, I do think he has the potential to be the next GSP. So I'm kind of going with can Colby beat Usman? Can Colby beat Usman? And I don't think he'll beat Usman. So yeah, he'll start off great, dominate Jorge, take some of Jorge's hype, but I think Usman will be waiting, and so kind of 50-50 year.
Got you. Number 14, we got AJ McKee at 17-0. I don't know too much about AJ McKee, so I'm gonna start with you, G.
Bellator prospect, one of the best. Isn't he going to sign with the UFC, or is he still with Bellator?
Last time I checked, he was with Bellator.
I honestly, and I don't, no offense to you, think it's a little bit disrespectful to call him a prospect. I know. You know what I mean. I'm not harping on you. Like I said, I'm not harping on you. I'm harping on people that would call him a prospect. I think that people that are calling AJ McKee a prospect, AJ McKee is one of those guys, and I've watched his last couple of fights. Super dangerous guy, able to kind of threaten from multiple positions. Long, lanky guy. He's kind of got that frame to be able to, kind of put a lot of work on you pretty quickly. And honestly, I think that. And you know what? I think that you're not wrong with saying, maybe saying he's got this, he hasn't passed that ramp yet, so maybe I wouldn't call him a prospect, I'd call him, he's on that journey to be able to,
would you call him a contender? As if he's not a prospect.
I'd say
like he's a Kevin Holland. A Kevin Holland, I guess.
Kind of like exactly what they say. Exactly what Jeannie said. Jeannie's on point. Like a Kevin Holland, like one of those guys that can really prove himself if he's given the right ability, like the right fight. Like they need to give it to him, you know what I mean? And he needs to get himself up and get himself ready for the fight. But like I said, 17-0, one of those guys that's dangerous coming off that submission in round one against Darren Caldwell, and it was dangerous. Like I think that watching AJ McKee and watching guys in Bellator, and we're saying this to you guys right now, we're not only just UFC. I know this week it's going to sound like more UFC because it's all happening.
Working right now.
Yeah, exactly. UFC working right now. But in reality, we cover all sports. We try and get to all of them. It's impossible to get to every single one, but trying to get to all of them allows us to, expand the mind and see guys that are going to come in at short notice. You know what I mean? Especially with COVID and all this shit, people.
Yeah. Well, I heard AJ McKee was apparently having a lunch with Dana White or something, so he'll probably be signing to the UFC. I don't know if he's still on that Bellator contract deal, but whether he's in Bellator right now or the UFC, I think he's going to have a fantastic year. If he gets into the UFC, look, he's 17-0. He's been fighting since 2015. Great on the feet, great on the ground, one of the more well-rounded guys, and I have high hopes for this guy. Whether he's in Bellator, whether he's in UFC, he's going to have a great year. And the UFC, look, they're not going to match him up with the top 15 guy right away. They'll give him I'm not going to say journeyman because he's not at that level where he still needs to be testing himself against journeyman, but good veterans that have been in the UFC for multiple years. And AJ McKee, he's going to have a great year. I'll tell you that much.
Got you. At number 13, we got Alexander Volkanovski, 21.
Oh man, I'll talk about this. So
cook on him, Jeannie. Cook on him.
I think he's in a world of trouble, man. I think he's in the world of trouble. I actually am one of the few who thought he beat Holloway in the second fight. Look, Holloway clearly got the first two. Volkanovski clearly got the last two. It comes down to that third round, which I just so think Volkanovski got.
I know.
But with Holloway's last performance, you got to think Holloway, he's chirping at a third crack at the belt. So Holloway, I mean, let's be real. He'll probably beat Volkanovski with that last performance. You've also got Brian Ortega, who Volkanovski's got to face at the beginning of the year. You saw what Ortega did to Korean Zombie. I mean, he dominated Korean Zombie on the feet where we thought Korean would beat Brian. So maybe Brian will beat Volkanovski. I think they're saying, if he beats Ortega, if he beats Holloway, he'll probably be fighter of the year. But I think he gets back. I think he gets past Ortega. That's really close. But then Holloway, man, I mean, Holloway will be chirping for a third crack. And then you've also got up-and-coming guys like Zabit and whatnot. So I think Volkanovski he'll probably lose the belt by the end of the year. So I'm going to say he's not going to have a good year. Maybe he'll beat Ortega, but Holloway, he's chirping.
Yeah,
what you got, Serge?
Man, I agree with the Genie, man. He's on point. Like I said, me and him are mentally connected. As far as Volkanovski goes, I think that he's probably going to end up rolling through Ortega. It's just, man, I know a lot of people were kind of impressed by the Korean Zombie fight. And in my opinion, and I'll be honest, I think Korean Zombie looked bad. You know what I mean? I think Korean Zombie didn't look good in opposed to, I know people are like, oh, Ortega looked really good. And Ortega did. His stand-up looked better. His stand-up looked better for a guy that's at his caliber in the UFC, once had a title shot against a guy who's a stand-up specialist in Max Holloway, and who's a guy that's now realized, hey man, it ain't only all about submissions and flying triangles and stuff like that. It's awesome, and it's what we love. And as far as being able to finish on the ground, it's a huge part. It's important, and your skills are invaluable as far as the game goes. But man, you got to learn how to throw some stuff on the hands and feet, and we saw that in the Korean Zombie fight. But I thought the Korean Zombie looked a little bit below kind of what I had remembered him as, what I had kind of watched him as, you know what I mean, what I had thought he would kind of produce against a guy like Ortega. So in reality, I do agree. I think that Volkanovski's going to roll through Ortega, and then I think that if he gets that fight before the end of the year with Holloway, because I know Holloway, like you said, will be chirping for that fight, and I think he should be. I think it's a protest just with the numbers, what he did to be able to get that fight. I think it's a definite statement setter as far as, hey, I deserve this fight. This is what you should give me. I think that he loses that fight, like you said, to Max Holloway. I think like I said, you think that he won that last fight against Max. I think that he lost that fight. I don't think it was close enough. Like, I mean, like, I know there's fights where we get a champ and we get a guy like a John Jones, and I like to use it as an example, a John Jones and a Dom Reyes, where we see a guy maybe win a fight, but like, and it happens in more sports like boxing all the time, where we see these kind of more flux decisions as far as if the guy's the champion. You know what I mean? I kind of saw that with the Volkanovski Holloway 2 fight. I kind of saw that in my eyes. That's kind of what I saw when I saw the decision. I said, well, he's the champion, you know what I mean, in a way, but it was like rewatching that fight, rewatching all the film the last couple of weeks. I think Max Holloway definitely won that fight. I think that he took that second fight, but still, like I said, you can't let anything go to the judges. You don't know who you're going to get on the night, so I think he's probably going to have a bad year as well. Boone, what do you have?
I think he's gonna do cool. I think y'all are probably like sleeping on him. I think he's learned from all the previous fights that he's had. I think he learned from the Holloway fight. I think he was gifted in that previous Holloway fight, in my opinion. I think Holloway won the fight because I recently watched it, because prior I did not watch it, but I did watch it recently. And I do think Holloway won the fight by split, because Volkanovski, he did do his thing. He wasn't like he got ring. It wasn't Holloway Cater. I'm gonna say that. Mm-hmm. Okay, it wasn't that. Yeah. So I think Volkanovski, he's not gonna have like the greatest of great years, because I do think he might get through Brian Ortega. I think he'll get through Ortega, but I still think he'll lose to Holloway. You know what I mean? But I think if he loses to Ortega, I think that might make his year shit. But I think beating Ortega and losing the belt to Holloway, I wouldn't say that's a bad year for him per se. I mean, it's still bad to lose your belt, but I'm saying pertaining to losing your belt to Ortega, because I'm telling you, if he lose to Ortega, or Ortega gets the belt, or Holloway gonna beat the fuck out of Ortega again. So I see, like, for Volkanovski, I see him beating Ortega, getting him out of the way, and then losing to Max Holloway via split decision. I think it's going to be a better fight. This fight going to be better than the last one. They fight again. It's going to be much better. I think it's going to be a lot more fireworks. I think he'll find Holloway a lot better, because he had problems trying to find him, and I think he'll find him a lot earlier instead of finding him a little in mid to late rounds and shit. I think he'll find him a lot earlier. So
I hear that.
I think he'll have a decent year. He won't have a high year, but you won't have a low year. I think it'll be kind of like, it'll be right in the middle. And that's what I think for Alexander Volkanovski. Number 12, we got Leon Edwards at 18-3. Serge, what you got for Leon Edwards? You got anything on Leon Edwards?
I'm going to give you this one quick, because I got to go take a quick washroom break, people. Like I said, it is my birthday. I am having a quick drink on this one. Like I said, can't do it tomorrow morning. Everyone come tune in. I'm setting the live after this thing. I'm setting the live as far as you guys are going to be able to come join with me. It's going to be on a little bit earlier at certain times. I mean, it's on about 9 o'clock here, Boone, it's on around 6 a.m. your time, but I'm going to have a good person with me as far as Talk MMA Live with me and anyone else that wants to come join. J Blues Radio is going to be with me. So people, come listen to me live, call the fight. I would really appreciate it. We're going to be doing live bets. Like I said, I did not make any bets on the undercard, so all my bets are going to be done kind of on the spot for the undercard as far as this fight goes. So it's going to be kind of exciting, you know what I mean? Like I used to cook, you know what I mean? I never used to do the most research. I used to do research, but I didn't used to do the kind of research I've been doing for the last month and a half. So it's going to be nice to see how I can cook on the undercard. So, I mean, and there is some good fights, a lot of hard fights to call on that card. So as far as Leon Edwards goes, I'll make it quick, sweet and short. They keep pushing this Khamzat Chimaev fight. I think that him looking for the other fight that he was trying to get as far as so when the Khamzat fight, like I think it's already been canceled twice or 3 times. When it was canceled the second time, he said, yo, listen, get me a fight. Let's go. I'll fight this. And he gave 2 names. I don't remember what the 2 names were. I'm sure Genie does. As far as the 2 guys he named to say, hey, I'll fight these 2 guys. And then they said, no, you know what I mean? And then and Dana was all over the Khamzat, you know what I mean? So he said, Khamzat, we're going to just push this fight back a 3rd time, March 13th. Let's do it that way. You know what I mean? Like, let's keep pushing it back. And I'm like, okay. And like I said, originally, I don't know if you knew this, Boone, Leon Edwards had been off. I think it was an injury. And then there was the whole COVID thing, right? Obviously, that caused a bunch of fighters, you know what I mean? That's why we don't take into that year discrepancy too long. Because of COVID, you know what I mean? It's caused a lot of fighters, you know, if you got family situations, all that, you can't fight, you know what I mean? So as far as Leon Edwards went, he hadn't fought for a while, and they were claiming, boom, this is going to sound crazy to you. Either you fight, and I think, what was he ranked? Oh, man, Genie, I know you're going to know this. 3rd, 4th, something like that. Something high, maybe, in the rankings. Maybe I'm crazy. And they said to him, hey, man, if you don't fight after this certain amount of time, you don't take this Khamzat fight, you know what I mean? We're just going to strip you and kick you out, strip you from the division. And I was furious. I was like, man, you're going to strip a guy like Leon Edwards? I was like, this is the UFC dictatorship. Flexing I was like, this is them flexing their power. I was like, this is what they can truly do to people. You know what I mean? But I was like, okay, whatever. So now that he's still on this Khamzat fight, I'll make it quick. I think Khamzat ends up dominating this fight. I think that Khamzat ends up winning this fight. I was originally on Leon Edwards. My opinion might go back when it comes down to the fight, but man, I just see something special in Khamzat. I really do. I really do. With that power in the hands and the ability to wrestle and do everything on the hands and feet, like, the only thing that, you know, I want to see is that I want to see that cardio check cash. You know what I mean? I want to see your cardio, bro. I want to see a little more cardio. I want to see what happens when someone's able to take those shots, maybe wrestle with you a little bit. But that's the problem with a high level guy like Khamzat. He's probably 2 levels up above everybody in these different tiers. So, and now with the power that he's showing against GM3, it's a huge problem. So I think that Leon Edwards probably has a worse year than 12, to be honest, in my opinion. I think he takes the L to Khamzat on March 13th. That's my opinion. I'll be right back, people.
Man, I'm gonna disagree with him. I'm gonna disagree with him on this one, man. From beating Gerald Mearshart to then fighting a top 5 guy like Edwards, I think it's a fight Khamzat can win, but I don't think it's a fight he will win. I think Leon's gonna style on the young green prospect who got pushed too early, and after that, I mean, he's back in the title shot opportunities. Will he beat Usman? Probably not, but beating Khamzat himself, that's a great win, and I think he's gonna have a good year. Now, would I be surprised if Khamzat flatlines Leon in the first round? Obviously, Leon hasn't fought in like a year and a half since that win over Dos Anjos. But yeah, I'm taking Edwards. I think he's gonna have a great year. A win in Khamzat Chimaev itself, you could lose a fight to Kamaru Usman later that year, but a win in Khamzat itself, you're set for the year. Great year.
So you think that one win would just basically catapult him into the status where he needs to be in the UFC right now?
Oh yeah, then he's looking at fights with Jorge. That's a big money fight. A main event with Colby, or even a title shot against Kamaru. I mean, they've been doing Leon dirty. You know what they've been doing, not pushing him and whatnot. But yeah, he's one of the better guys in the division. One of my dark horses.
Got you. So why do you think that is? Why do you think that they have been, in a sense, giving Leon so much shit? What is it about Leon Edwards that's making it so hard for him to have a solidified
Man,
career in MMA and UFC? Go ahead, Gene.
I
Take it
mean,
over.
he's not really marketable, and he'll be rejecting fights, not accepting the fights. But I mean, it is also a part of the UFC's wrongdoing. It's a little bit part of both. I mean, I can understand where they're coming from, but even before declining the fights and whatnot, what was he on, a 5-6 win streak, and they're still giving him, guys like Gunnar Nelson when they should be giving him, the top guys in the division.
Mm, mm. Why do you think they giving him so much shit, Serge? Why they giving Leon so much shit?
You're muted.
You're muted, bro.
It's the exact same kind of thing, man. They're. I agree with Jeannie. They're kind of. It's in part due to him declining the fights. It's in part to him. I think he did have an injury. I'm not 100% sure if he did or not. And then of course the whole COVID thing. And of course that all kind of equates to, a guy who they look at and say, "Oh, what have you done for us recently?" And I think that the UFC says, "Oh, what have you done for us recently?" And he goes,
Yeah, and
what I
Dana
mean?
White, not to cut you off, Dana White do got that thing when like if you turn down fights, he don't like that shit. He like the motherfuckers, like if he call you and say you got to fight on Tuesday or you got to fight Saturday, like you got to say yeah.
Bro,
Like,
perfect example, Kevin Holland. Like Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series fight, Kevin Holland was talking the whole time, wasn't able to get the finish, won the decision, the UD, and Dana White said, "I ain't fucking hiring that guy, man. He's talking the whole time to me. He's talking to me the whole time in the Apex. He's not fighting. He's talking to me." You know what I mean? And then, of course, when the Thiago Santos fight rolled around, they said, "Oh, well, who's going to fight Thiago Santos?" And they started calling people. They started calling the guys that won the Contender Series and said, "Okay."
Give it to Big Mouth.
You know what I mean? They said, yeah, exactly. They said, "Oh, these fights are falling out, blah, 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 blah." And then he said, "Oh, I'm going to call Big Mouth." And then he goes ahead and calls Kevin Holland and said, "How would you like to enter the UFC against Thiago Santos?" Who at the time I think was on like a 4-fight knockout streak. And they were like, "Okay." And, yeah, they were like, "No one's going to take this." He took the fight, went in there, and went to decision. You know what I mean? So it's a testament to guys, like I said, scratching Dana's back and being able to be there for him and be there for the UFC as a whole. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's like I said, it's all business over in the UFC. There's not a lot of love unless you're making those top checks. You know what I mean? And even then, I don't think there is a lot of love. I think it's pretty dog eat dog world out there in the UFC.
so it looks like Leon gonna have one of those up and down roller coaster type of years, and it sounds like it's looking
Man,
too good for Leon.
well, like bro, like I think that Genie was saying, like before I left, he was saying he thinks he's gonna beat Hamzat. He beats Hamzat, I think the year is gonna be good.
Mm.
He loses to Hamzat, I think the year is gonna be bad. I think it
So
only gets worse. It only gets worse from what it was there before. You know what I mean? I don't think it gets better. You know what I mean? So
it's a lot of pressure on Leon to beat Hamza right now.
Yes.
It's like if anybody is feeling the pressure, it's Leon. Hamza is sitting there kicking his feet up, doing his thug thing in training camp. While Leon is like, I gotta win this fight.
Well, you got to think Kamzat feels pressure also. I mean, you got to think he's being built up as this prospect, and like I said earlier, from Gerald Mearshart to Leon. Think about that for a second. Think about that. And look, Gerald's no bum, but Gerald got knocked out by Ian Heinisch in 2 minutes a few months before the Kamzat fight. It's just levels of this.
Got you. All right, we're gonna go to number 11, Petr Yan, 15-1, number 11. What kind of year do you see Petr Yan having, Gene?
I think it's going to be a great year. Who's he set to fight?
Man, this is Genie. This is where it's the problem. He's set to fight Aljo. I say Aljo beats him. I say Aljo beats him.
No, I think he'll take care of Aljo, man. I mean, it's going to be a tough fight, but I think he'll take care of Aljo, and then we're looking at a money fight with Cody. We can maybe do the super fight with Davison Figueroa. I mean, a lot of fun matchups. He's got to get through Aljo first, which is a tough fighter. Which is a tough fight. Maybe Aljo can take it to the ground, but I think Petr Yan boxes Aljo up. I think he's gonna have a great year, man. Great year. One of the better champions.
I don't disagree
Okay,
with
we
that.
got good year from coming from Gene. What you got, Serge? You good year
Nah,
back?
man, I don't disagree with that. I'm gonna make it short. Like I don't disagree with that. I think it's like I said, kind of like the last fight, largely dependent on what happens. I don't even think that if he lost Aljo, it'd be crazy. I think that probably we'd see a rematch inbound. Man, I don't know what it is about me, man. I've been hyped on Aljo for the last little while since he's been on this, this little run here, trying to say, you know what, this is my shot at the title. The UFC ain't giving it to me. It's my time. Give me a shot. You know what I mean? And I'm all over Aljo. I'm going to be hammering Aljo and all over him, even regardless of how much I respect Peter Yan and his abilities. I think that, man, it's just Aljo. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into it now. I think that Peter Yan, regardless, has a good year at 11. I think that 11's probably pretty respectable, regardless. I don't really know right off the bat who's next. Ooh, I'm not sure. I think that's pretty respectable. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna hate on that for sure. I'm
All
okay
right,
with that.
well, we got good year for Petr Yan. Now we're at the top 10, fellas. Number 10, Aljamain Sterling at 19-3. Number 10. What kind of year do you see my boy Sterling Aljamain? Because I think he's gonna have a good year. That dude shows good potential. I like him. I watched his last few fights. I think the guy is really gonna be the real deal. I think he's gonna be like the new Mighty Mouse on the under. That's my personal opinion. But I say he's gonna have a good year. I wouldn't say a great year. It all depends on who he's matched up with. I don't know any of his upcoming fights. I just know based on his recent fights and where he gotten to where he's at. But I think his next few fights is really going to determine whether he has a good year or not. So what I will say is, Gene, what do you know pertaining to Aljamain Sterling's next few opponents?
Wait, Boone. This is where it gets funny. I think Genie was just gonna say it. We're all having a good time out here, man. I ain't picking no fun. Like I just said, and I was calling him Aljo. That might have been the problem. Aljamain Sterling, and he's fighting Peter Yan next. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's crazy. That's like I said, big make or break fight for Aljo. I think he can win the fight. I think that he's, I think he's gonna take this. I think he's gonna do it, but. Man,
Right.
it might be too early to tell, but like I said, that's just my opinion. I like where he's ranked. I think that's respectable for Aljo.
I mean, he's right under Petr. He's literally right under.
Respected. Let's do it. I
Right.
respect
So,
it.
Gene, what do you think with Petr Yan, Aljamain Sterling being the next thing? And how do you see these guys having like a good year? But their year depends on how they fight each other.
Yeah, like Surgeon and also you were saying earlier, it really depends on how if he's gonna, is he gonna beat Peter Yan, is he gonna lose? Because if Peter Yan loses, I think there'll be a rematch clause. But if Aljo, loses, I don't think there will be a rematch clause. So maybe he can redeem himself, face the winner of Sandhagen, Edgar or something like that. But I think his year really relies on the title fight against Peter Yan, and like I was saying earlier, I don't think he beats Peter Yan. So I'll say this. I mean, it's Peter Yan's a beast. I think Aljo will have a good year, even with the loss to Peter Yan. I think he'll bounce back and beat a Sandhagen, beat a Edgar. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, honestly, I would say losing to Peter Yan. I mean, he's 15-1. The guy got a decent record, and I'm sure he got some decent wins on his resume. So I think losing, of course, no one wants to lose, but I think losing that fight really is not going to make or break him personally. But the cool thing about it, I think winning that fight would do a whole hell of a lot for that man's career. Winning that fight, it's crazy that losing the fight, I think, kind of keeps him where he's at, plateaus where he's at. But I think winning that fight will just put him up there, just on the fact of who Petr Yan is. I mean, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong if you think different, but I just think if Aljo, when if he beats Petr Yan, bro, that's about to, because I'm telling you, nobody's picked. A lot of people I could tell you is probably thinking Petr Yan is gonna take it to Aljo. I'm sure a few people probably thinking that.
Oh yeah, I think Aljo's gonna come on as the underdog card, and I actually have a crazy. After we get done this, I got a crazy thing to bring up to you guys. I put it in the notes. It's crazy. I guess the line already opened up on one of these fights in the future, and I am kind of disrespected by it. But we will get into that later. Who is the next ranked guy because I agree with you.
All right, we at number 9, and I'm gonna start off with my boy Gene because Gene loves talking about this guy, and we got at number 9 Kamaru Usman, the champ.
Oh man, so as much as I've been hyping him up, I think his fighting style's boring, man. The foot stomps, the grinding him up against the cage, going for the takedowns, but whatever gets you the win, and I think he faces the winner of Colby Masvidal, faces the winner of Hamzat Edwards, beats him, and I think he's going to be a great year. And call me crazy, but at the end of the year, I think he'll be regarded as the closest thing to GSP, the next welterweight goat. Oh yeah, I know it's bold. I see the look on your faces, but I mean, come on, it's Usman, and I don't think he's gonna lose. I picked Colby over Usman the first time. Was looking good, but the 5th round, I mean, Usman showed he had that heart, showed he had that 5th round championship spirit in him, and the year, trust me, Usman will be looked at the next GSP, whether you like his style or hate it. You gotta respect it. It's what gets him the win. Great.
A winner is a winner. A winner is a winner.
Yeah, man.
How they win.
Next GSP, I can definitely say I think we're gonna definitely have him starting to make his name as far as a legend. I don't know about next GSP, but I because and that's just my opinion, Genie, just because I'm from Canada. As far as GSP being an absolute,
I know, and right now
being a legend, you know what I mean, and the guy who's still kind of saying, "Hey, man, I'm growing my hair back. I'm coming right back into the
right
UFC,
now. Look, right now he's nothing close to GSP, but with the win over the winner of Masvidal Colby, with the win over the winner of Edwards Hamzat, will he be looked at as the next GSP?
And you think he's going to get past Gilbert Burns fairly easily?
Oh yeah, that Gilbert matchup. I actually interviewed Gilbert. It was a bad interview because I did it when I was a lot younger, but yeah, I think he beats Gilbert easily.
We gotta get you, Gilbert.
Look, they've trained
here. We gotta get you on the line here, brother, because I trust in you.
Yeah, I mean, look, Gilbert and Usman, they've trained together, and Usman knows Gilbert's style. He's watched the tape, and
but Gilbert knows Usman too. It's a fair trade, Gene.
Well, everyone knows Usman's style. I mean, watch his fights. You know what you're gonna get: the grinding up against fence, takedown. But
you can say the same
nobody
thing.
Can stop it. Nobody can stop it.
Yeah,
it's the same thing
with Habib. You know Habib's gonna back you up against the fence, go for a double leg and maul you, but you can't stop it.
I think that as far as Kamaru Usman goes, I agree with the ranking where he's at. I think that the fight against Gilbert Burns is going to be very close. Of course, I'll be coming out with a prediction on that on my channel. We'll be coming around to it on February 13th, and I'm excited for that, people. That's coming up soon.
Man, that's a great fight. And look, I'm rooting for Gilbert.
Great card.
I want to have that guy I've interviewed as a current UFC champion, but I'm realistic with my picks. I'm only biased towards Alexei Oleinik. I think Gilbert loses dominantly.
I hear you. I hear you, and it's definitely not you know what I mean. I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean. I'm not like heavy on Gilbert, but I see something in Gilbert, but at the same time I don't necessarily see, and I was talking about this on my kind of end of year predictions on my channel. I don't necessarily see Gilbert maybe being the guy that beats Kamaru. I think it's I don't think it's going to be necessarily a fighter that's going to beat Kamaru, because I do think he's amazing. I'm a huge Kamaru Usman fan, and it was crazy. It was like, you know me, man, like I just said, I'm a whole huge Colby Covington fan. I was a huge fan of him from the start, but like you said, you look at it realistically, and when that fight happened between Kamaru Usman and Colby, I actually ended up picking Kamaru, and it was like, I was like, okay, like, it was just that way, the way it is, you know what I mean? And as far as he goes in that ranking, I think I probably agree with that. I think that, like I said, this Gilbert Burns fight is going to be definitely a hard fight. Oh, man. Okay. I agree with that. I'm just going to say I agree.
Yep. All right. Well, so basically we all in agreeing that Usman is going to have a hell of a year. Basically.
Yeah.
Usman's going to have. Now we finna get into some meat and potatoes, because now we got to talk about this weekend. Because number 8, as you already know, it's that Irish dog, Conor McGregor. At number 8, 22-4. My boy Sarge, what kind of year do you see Conor McGregor having?
think
with Dustin Poirier being this very weekend. Let's get into this Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier thing right here, right now. What kind of year do you see Conor McGregor having right now?
Man, I think that for everyone that wants a full breakdown of me going obviously through all these fights and stuff like that, come to my channel, hit me up before these fights start. It's like I'll have it out in a day or two. Just give me a little bit of time, people. I'm trying to enjoy myself a little bit and just
it's his birthday
and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like give me a day slack. You know what I mean? I should have been ready for this to go, but I wasn't. Right. You know what I mean? So here we are. But as far as this fight goes against Poirier, man, I don't know what it is. Call me a McGregor hater. Call me that one of those people that just isn't a fan of him. It's just I see this fight in a crazy way, and people might say you're nuts after we see it, because we might see, we could see obviously Conor with the death touch sleep Dustin. We could see, I think we're going to see a Chad Bunny Mendez kind of style fight. I think we're going to see a grinding from Dustin Poirier on the ground, an absolute hellacious beatdown on the ground. I think it's going to be basically up to if Conor can get up. I think that as much as Dustin's saying on these embedded videos, and I watched them, you know what I mean? Like in these embedded videos, they make your emotions ride the roller coaster, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Boone? You were telling me to watch it, man. It makes you go up and down. This guy, you know what I mean? Like who am I really rooting for? But man, I want to take Dustin Poirier. I think that he's got that ability. It's 6 years down the line. I think that he's really come up with the extra weight. I think he really has a better chin now. I think he's not overly aggressive. I think that his mindset's better. I think that he takes this fight to Conor, but the only thing that worried me, like I said on the embedded, was first round knock. Like from Poirier, he goes, first round knockout, and I can just get out of there. I go, Poirier. I go, come on, man. I go, come on, man. Let's take some stuff. Let's be smart. Let's take some stuff that we took from the Khabib fight. Let's take that. Let's bring it into our game. Fuck, I even wanted him to hit up Khabib and say, Khabib, you're retired, man. Can I get out there for a while? You know what I mean? Obviously with COVID and stuff like that, probably not possible. But hey, man, show me a couple tips to beat McGregor. You know what I mean? Show me some stuff. You know what I mean? And exactly, like kind of what we're seeing in the comments a little bit. Like he will fight dumb. And that's the whole problem. If he's going to fight dumb, he could get slept by Conor. That's the whole problem. Conor has the death touch, but I just see Poirier being able to do this smart kind of implemented wrestling kind of game where it's really going to come down to cardio. If he can keep Conor down, I think it's going to come down to that. But I don't know. I'm picking Poirier in that fight. So as far as the whole, like, because I know we were going to talk about it, I'm picking Poirier in that fight. But as far as the whole where he's ranked at number 8, I think that's probably fair. I think that he could even go up from there. You know what I mean? It's Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? Like this guy could, you know what I mean? But they're talking about the boxing thing. That's the whole problem, right? We're hearing about Conor McGregor, Manny Pacquiao, and if he wins this fight, is he gonna jet? You know what I mean? Like he always kind of has been in the past. So if he jets, can't be a number 8 ranking and guys to have a best year, because you're probably gonna just fight the Pacquiao fight and not fight another UFC fight. It'll probably be 2 fights in a year. Chin, you'll make a bunch of money on the Pacquiao fight and get the fuck out of there. So I mean. Well, I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna hate it, not gonna love it. I'm okay with it.
Man, so I see this fight completely differently. And look, I know Dustin Poirier has evolved since 2014, 13 when that first fight was.
2014. You're right. You're right.
I know he's gotten better. I know he's gotten better as far as the mental game and whatnot. But I still think that image of him getting his head pounded through the canvas is in his head, and weirdly I still think Conor's in his head, even though there's not much trash talk. That knockout is still in his head. Conor he's looked better than ever. He's looked better than ever as far as physique and what shape he's looking like. And if it gets to the second round, if it gets to the third round, I see Poirier probably beating him, maybe gets the bag, rear naked chokes, but I don't think it goes that way. Look, I'm not going to say 60-second knockout, but maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes in, that left-hand counter sleeps Dustin.
That pull counter. He got that.
Signature left hand.
He got that bad. Like, he just waits. He waits.
It's the same thing, bro. It's the same thing every time. Like, that's what Rowdy was saying. That's what his coach Rowdy was saying. Like, I appreciate you for telling me to watch the embedded. His coach Owen Rowdy was saying, man, like, we've seen this. We've seen it. We're looking at the pull counter. It's the same goddamn pull counter. You know, his boxing coach was talking about it. I believe his name is Reese or something. His boxing coach was looking at it as well, saying, pull counter, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we got to double up, we got to put up more shots up there, you know what I mean? Like, really, we got to show him, like in a Diaz fight, putting multiple shots on the target at the same time, you know what I mean? Backing him up.
Backing him up and go to the body. Hit Conor in the bread basket.
For sure. Hit,
I'm
actually way in that. I agree with that. Hit fucking
and he's
Conor.
heavy on the front foot. Chop that bitch down. He could sit there and do all. I will chop that bitch all day long. Bop! I will chop that bitch all day long. There's no problem.
I agree.
That's good. Because eventually you're gonna pick that motherfucker up. You ain't gonna. I mean, it's cool to take it the first maybe 60 seconds of the fight, but it's a 5. We talking about 5-minute rounds here. You ain't gonna be so prone to be taking them kicks late in the second, late in the third. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even late in the fourth. When they just chopping that leg, chopping that leg, chopping that leg, chopping that leg, you ain't gonna be so prone to say, yeah, sure, go ahead, no problem. You're not gonna be so prone for that. So I do think Dustin will come in better, but I feel the same way about Conor McGregor's pull counter that I feel about Khabib's takedowns and I feel about Usman or his wrestling. There are just some things you just can't stop. You just got to know how to deal with. And will Dustin be able to deal with Conor hitting him? Because Conor going to hit him. He's going to hit him. I don't give a fuck what he hit him with. He's going to touch that man's chin. My thing is, what are you going to do, Dustin, once he touched that chin? Because he's going to touch that shit. And how are you going to react when he finds your ass?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to find Conor? That's my thing. That's my take on the fight personally. Like I said, we're gonna talk about the whole thing, Poirier, McGregor, right here, right now. We're gonna just cook on the fight since we already know McGregor.
Hey, can I read some of the comments or no?
Well, you can read well, not right now. We'll get to them later.
Yeah, graze over something if you want. You can kind of pick it up and put it into your kind of speech if you want. But I mean, we're trying to wait till the end for everyone that's wondering. We're kind of trying to wait till the end till we answer comments. Kind of takes us a lot to cook on. Yeah, exactly. We got a lot to cook on, people. We're only 8 fights. We're only like 8 fights in.
Hey, but did you guys see Dustin Poirier's last fight against Dan Hooker? Great fight, but
yes, sir.
You saw how many times he got touched. I mean, come on. What happens if you saw the end of the second round, Hooker just pouring it on Poirier? What happens if Poirier finds himself in the situation against Conor? It won't be a barrage of hooks. It won't be a barrage of wild hooks. It'll be 2 crisp left hands, and he'll be staring up at the lights.
That's what I really think that Dustin will fight a better fight. Meaning that when I say he'll fight a better fight, it will last longer. The outcome will more likely be the same, but I think the fight will go a lot longer than the first initial fight.
I hear that.
And then, and other than that, like I said, I think Conor is going to have a great year. It's Conor McGregor. I don't see Conor having a bad year in no shape, form, or fashion. If he loses this fight, though, if for some miraculous reason, by the whole lords of MMA, he loses this fight, it'll be a catapult because it'll be like he lost to Dustin Poirier. Poirier is going to get catapulted up there. And mind you, this is at 170. This ain't at 55. This is at 170. Conor McGregor is campaigning at 170 pounds, even talking about winning the title at 170 pounds. I don't really see Conor being as dominant at 170 as he was at 55 and 45. I just don't see him doing much there. Because you got to think, Conor, these motherfuckers at 70, they could punch too. You ain't the only person that could punch on the planet. And even Khabib touched you and clipped you and put you on your ass because you was thinking that all Khabib was gonna do was try to
lucky overhand right in my books.
But he still got caught. He still got clipped, and hell, he got slapped up by Diaz. Diaz he wasn't even throwing punches. He literally was just slapping, and he was getting touched. And I honestly think Conor's conditioning and his gas is like his biggest flaw. Like he can't go 5 rounds. Conor McGregor, come back.
Yeah. See, I don't want to interrupt you, and I don't mean to do it. Dan's already saying it. This fight's at 155. Boom.
It's at 55.
55.
But Daniel Poirier is talking about fighting at 70.
I heard him. I heard what you said.
Fights at 55.
I heard what you said though, as far as him saying. I heard what you said. I heard the clip exactly what you said, where he goes, ain't no one at 155, one side, like, and he
Right,
starts
right,
going up, right? And he starts
right.
getting alive. He's even thinking, what the fuck? I'm like,
So they fight at 55. Remember, because we said Poirier is better at 55.
Yeah, I think it's Poirier, man. I think it's Poirier. That's where
Wait
I'm
a
at.
minute,
Maybe
now
you might
hold
change.
up.
Yeah. You might change here.
Whoa, wait a minute now, because I thought the fight was at 70. That's why I said Conor might get him at 70. Poirier's new to the weight. He ain't fought there. He ain't done nothing at 170 really. So I'm not too confident or comfortable. Conor McGregor has already fought at 170 pounds when he fought Diaz. So he's already has a familiarity with the weight, how to deal with the weight. He knows how it feel to be in there. He knows it. So that's why I would say Conor, plus the experience, all the other shit that come with him.
Honestly, where I get all my info is Tapology.com. They say the weight class, and Tapology is the best at it, man.
Absolutely.
Right, and I would just say, but at 55, because you got to remember, they first fight, he was drained. They fought at 45.
45, yep, 45.
No, Poirier was drained. Poirier was back.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
cutting weight like a nut bar. Like,
so we finna see a fully hydrated, strong Poirier. We not finna see no drained, worn out Poirier. Yeah. So honestly, Poirier might surprise some people. Poirier could win this. Poirier, he could win this. And if Poirier win this fight, McGregor,
I think it's boxing after that. That's what I said. I'm out of here. If I could make a Pacquiao fight, still I'm in. You know what I mean?
That's a $100 million fight right there.
But exactly, he'd have to. I think if he lost the fight, he'd be able to make the fight. It'd be a lot more shit talking though. You know what I mean? He'd have to really amplify up that mouth game and be able to talk a little bit more to be able to seduce Manny Pacquiao in a fight. But you guys have seen the videos. I don't know if you have. Pacquiao's saying he's in. You know what I mean? Pacquiao's at the mansion training, or at the compound, wherever he is, training, saying, I'm in. I'm ready to go against a guy like Conor McGregor. And scary for him. So
Gene, what you think? Because excuse me for being wrong. Now that the fight is at 55, you really you see it going late and Poirier stopping him, or you see McGregor stopping Poirier? Because it's at 55, it's not at 45. It's a 10-pound difference, man. This is a different Poirier in this fight, man.
Yeah,
it's all that.
Draining yourself, trying to get to that weight, it can have an effect on both men, but I think the outcome's going to be the same. You saw Poirier in his last fight, and go back to my point, getting touched up by Dan Hooker. Look, he'll last longer. He even clipped Conor McGregor in the fight, knocked out his tooth, but I think it's the same outcome, him staring up at the lights or staring down, because that was a face slump knockout.
Got you. Well, so basically, Conor McGregor looks like he's going to have another glorious, great year for him in the Irish public. Shout out Conor McGregor. Shout out Ireland.
If he stays active. You heard the whole season bull crap in 2020, and then he fights only once, but the COVID hit, and then the UFC probably wants him to fight with a gate and whatnot. So, yeah, and then with Khabib gone, I mean, let's be real. Khabib, he's probably not going to fight again and, honor his father's word. Khabib's gone, so I think Conor McGregor, and look, I'm not even a big Conor fan or nothing, but I think he's the next lightweight champion. It's Khabib Khan. Khabib comes back, Khabib's getting Conor.
Wait, and for that, we got to touch on that real quick. The fact that Khabib said that with the interview with Dana that he retired after his last fight. You're talking about, hey, I retired, and then your punk ass go meet up with Dana White and tell Dana, say, okay, well, I might come back depending on how Conor McGregor and Poirier look and Charles Oliveira look. And it's like, they always been there for you, Khabib. They have never not been there. The Conor fight was always there for you. The Dustin Poirier fight, always been there for you. It's never not been there for you. So for that, your ass get the fucking cannon. Just for that bullshit, you get the goddamn cannon, because don't nobody got time for that back and forth bullshit, because we know at the end of the day, the only real major fight that people really want to see again is Conor McGregor and Khabib. People want to see that fight a second time. Even though Conor got his ass whooped the first time, people still want to see, because Conor McGregor does do well in his rematches. We can all attest to when Conor McGregor comes back in his rematches, he do a lot better. That's another reason probably why he might fight Poirier better or beat Poirier different in this fight or better in this fight, but at the same time, it's gonna be a better Poirier. It's at a stronger weight for Poirier, so it might go in more of Poirier's favor. But I honestly feel that Khabib is blowing smoke up people's ass, just like what Gene said. I don't think that Khabib is coming back to fight nobody. I think he's really doing some unnecessary clout chase, some shit that he really don't have to do. You know what I mean? And I feel like Dana White is just selling pipe dreams. And for that, Dana, you get the cannon. You know what I mean? Shots fired! Shots fired! It annoys the shit out of me.
I mean, did you hear the recent quote? I'm sure you heard it. You heard it in the embedded. I finished the fight, and he got out of there and jumped out and looked great, then cowered it away when he got out of the cage. His father was saying, in quotes, this is Conor saying this, we need to get revenge against Conor for the brawl. And then Conor goes, I'm here for it, bring it on, as far as a rematch goes. So what do you like I man,
it's
this
smoke.
guy's...
It's smoke. It's all smoke.
That's what I mean, man.
They hyping it up, but then it's like, oh, I don't want to fight him. But then we see shit like this, and then when Khabib is asked about this type of shit, oh, I don't want to fight. I'm retired, and man, the fuck out of here.
You think that Conor deserves a rematch fight against Khabib though?
Nope.
I don't think so either.
I don't. After all the bullshit Conor did in the build up to the Khabib fight, and for him to lose the way that he lost, that was beautiful. That's poetic justice.
Exactly, and that's you know what I mean. Like, I mean, fuck. I don't know, for a lot of people, I lost a lot of respect for the guy for a guy like Conor. Like, I hated him before. Don't get me wrong. I picked against him many times before, and I'm not gonna say I'm a Conor fan to start off the whole trend here. But when I saw the whole dolly and stuff like that, and I saw him slapping the guy in the bar, and I'm like, okay, man. Like, I'm like, let's take this back down to the real level where we're at here. And like, this is you're getting, as far as showmanship goes, I get it. There's a whole potential side from there, but as far as being an asshole goes and being a dickhead and not a man, I mean, there's a whole point there too to be made. So that's all I got to say about that. Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because that was part of our kind of whole spiel as far as the news section goes. So.
Got you. Yeah, y'all hear first right here on the Combat Cannon, man. You hear the bullshit with Conor, man. He just on some other bullshit. And also, new news pertaining to Conor McGregor and this whole little sexual harassment bullshit is happening, like,
I mean, bro,
a few days before the fight. Like, what are you doing, Conor? For that, you get the goddamn cannon. What the fuck is your ass doing? Fucking up, getting all these unnecessary issues prior before the fight. You get it twice. That's bullshit. Don't make no sense.
So
Makes no sense.
If anyone doesn't remember, not to interrupt you, Boone, what Boone is talking about are claims made in 2018 that in Dublin, Ireland, he was exchanging some text messages with maybe an Instagram follower. You know what I mean? You know how these guys get them. You know what I mean? You know, they got people coming to them, women and flocking, you know what I mean? From social media. He then sent his driver, I believe, with him to further pick her up. They then went to Conor's hotel that he was staying in Dublin, like I said. They then arrived. Conor then persisted for some type of sexual favors, as she repeatedly said.
Who knows? I mean, for all we know, she could just be trying to get money out of the rich men. And again, with this situation, another alleged, case, and it just so happens to be when he's gonna fight. So is this real, or are they just trying to get more attraction on this fight?
Yeah, and like I was saying, here's the part, like I was kind of getting to. This is kind of what makes it more unbelievable, because like I had heard about this originally before. You know what I mean? And I saw Conor address it on Instagram, on social media, and say it was, bollocks for the whole sense of it. But as far as, the whole, she said, oh, like he wanted sexual favors. She said no. She ended up apparently biting him. He then ended up wrapping his arms around her neck, basically choking her 3 times, and then saying, that's how I felt in the octagon. I had to tap out 3 times myself before she then succumbed to doing the sexual favors. She's now requesting between $1.7 million and $2.2 million. He was originally detained and questioned a month after the incident, but no charges were filed against him. So Exactly. See, there's a lot of people that think, Conor is a prick. I think Conor's a fucking prick. I think that that's a guy who needs to get taken down a little bit of a step. But as far as that whole last part goes, it seems too coincidental, like Jeannie was saying, when it's coming out, the kind of just the stuff that's been quoted in it. If he actually fucking said that to a woman and did that, this piece of shit deserves to fucking get out of the UFC. And I'm telling you, he deserves to get up there against someone that's going to knock his ass the fuck out. That's my plan. That's my But like Jeannie was saying, lots of guys at these high status positions get women flocking, get this whole kind of thing of bullshit coming around them, a whole mess of lies, people trying to get money. So, boom, what do you have to say on it, man?
I mean, I just feel like this. I mean, if it's true, I mean, it's always some alleged shit that comes out usually before a big name person, individual athlete is finna do something major like a Super Bowl playoff game or even a major fight. This still is a major fight. This is Conor's first fight this year. So, and it's against a top opponent. And I think with that being said, I think because of that, the magnitude of it, and then with UFC doing what it's doing at this time of the year, I mean, it's just a lot of speculation. It's a lot of talk, and it's a lot of things that could go against you. It just what sucks to me, and the reason why I give Conor the candidate is because you are allowing yourself to get caught up in these situations. Because the only way a person could come up with some shit is if some way, somehow you entertain something. Even if it was a DM. Even if it was a DM. It don't got to be no real interaction or none of that. It could just be something simple as a fucking DM. Or it could have been something as, oh, I was just sitting with this bro having tea or having a drink or something, and she said something and a couple of words was said, and then next thing you know, you hear on ESPN that, that Conor McGregor touched this girl or did this or did that or whatever. And it's like, wait a minute, whoa, I just went out for a drink with the bitch and we had a little argument. I didn't ever do nothing to her, but the bitch gonna go to, oh, okay, all right. So I can understand where Jeannie is coming from, where things like that can happen, where people will clout chase you and they looking for a payout. But at the same time, Conor McGregor's a dick and he an asshole. So some of the stuff you hear about him, you look and be like, well, maybe
he's an asshole. Yeah, it might be not.
He might have.
Yeah,
you don't hear shit about Conor and think, nah. Like, if you hear Khabib is sexually harassing somebody, you're going to be like, Khabib?
Yeah.
Khabib would never. But you hear Conor McGregor sexually assaulting somebody or harassing somebody, oh, yeah. He had to do it. It's Conor McGregor.
Boone, I hear what you're saying. He put himself in that position to be judged as a guy like that.
Right.
So there you go. He's made that bed, and now he's got to kind of
lay in it,
sleep in it a little bit. And like I said, like MMA is saying, this is not the first accusation towards his I don't even know what the fucking word is, where you're dishonest and disfaithful in the relationship. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the first kind of claim we've heard. We've seen other bullshit before. Is it true? Is it not? I don't think we care. It was a talking point, people. I mean, I think that it's a talking point. We just decided to bring it up because it's breaking. And the real question is, I don't even think is it true or not. I think that, and people say, oh, Conor is stone cold, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Is this going to get into his shit before he has to fight?
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. But, yeah, I don't think he will. Conor's got a good mindset. He's got a strong mind, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But you never know. It can mess with them, stuff like that.
Yeah. So, basically, in a nutshell, I mean, we all think that Conor is going to have a stable year. It's looking, aside from what's in the news or whatever, it still look like he's going to have a good year. And especially if he beats Poirier this weekend, I see him having a great year. I don't see him fighting Khabib. I don't see that fight happening. I see him maybe getting a fight with maybe a Charles Oliveira somewhere in the future, depending on how he fights coming forward, and maybe getting a fight with him. Or that's really about it. I don't see him really fighting. I don't even see him moving up to 170 doing too much. He said it on UFC.
Hey, who knows? You heard Nate Diaz is coming back. I mean, who knows the trilogy? But then they also linked it with him coming back to 155. So who knows? But yeah, I think he'll stay at 155, and by the end of the year, he'll be a champ. With Khabib being gone,
But if Khabib leaves, because Khabib still got the strap. So if Khabib actually, that's the smoke and mirrors too. How you retire, but you still the champ. Dana don't give retirees belts. He don't let you keep a belt if he know you really like done.
Vacated.
He vacated?
No, he hasn't yet, but he probably will. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. So I think if and when Khabib vacates, I think Conor might stay at 55 and try to campaign at 55. But Conor did say in what was it, UFC Unleashed, he did say that UFC Countdown, I'm sorry, UFC Countdown, he did say he wanted to compete at 170 pounds. And he wanted to win 3 belts in 3 different divisions. He said that would be epic for him in his career because he's already accomplished winning belts in 45, 55, when he says he wants to win one in 170, which would be a hell of an accomplishment for Conor McGregor being a 3 division. And correct me if I'm wrong, Gene, I have never heard of a 3 division champion in UFC history.
Never. I've heard GSP 2 division champ, a few simultaneous champs, Amanda, DC, Connor, Pseudo. I believe Randy Couture was a 2 division champ, but never 3 division champs. Now there have been people that competed in 3 weight classes, like Pettis or someone like that, but never 3 division champ. But look, I think Usman dominates Connor. So, yeah.
Got you. All right, so we're going to move on to number 7. You know what I'm saying? And you, when I say what I'm finna say, y'all going to know what I'm talking about. This girl at number 7 is the hardest hitting woman in all of MMA sports.
Nunes, the Lioness.
The lady got crack. You better act like you know. If you don't know, you better act like you know. I'm talking about the champ. The first woman 2 division UFC champ, the only person that's done it besides of Conor McGregor. She did it before Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
So let's put some respect on her name.
Israel ever been in 2 divisions?
You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, she's gonna do it before Israel. She did it before Israel. Because Israel gonna win the belt at light heavyweight. He gonna win that shit.
Oh yeah, he'll be young. Sorry,
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that in a minute, but I'm just saying she did it before Israel. And Israel finna do it. So let's talk about my girl. What kind of year do you think, Serge, that our girl Amanda Nunes at 20-4, her record is 24, the champ. What kind of year is she gonna have? Good or bad?
Great year. I think that's where she stands. I think maybe we could even move her up. I think that she'll take on Megan Anderson, whatever you want to pronounce it. She'll probably roll through Megan Anderson. I think that Amanda Nunes, kind of like you said, is probably even more dedicated now that she has a child. I think that even that plays into the equation.
Oh snap!
But who knows? That could take some time. You know, having a baby, it's a lot of time on your hands.
I'm finna be kind of rude. Is it adopted?
It is her spouse's child.
Her spouse, that girl
also
that beat
fighting
Claudia.
in the UFC. Also fighting in the UFC.
What's her name? Nina Ansaroff.
Is it Nina Ansaroff?
Yeah, Nina Ansaroff. Perfect. So they're lesbians. So apparently it had to,
Well, if it's not her that went through the transition of being pregnant and all that and having a child, I don't see the having the child being an issue. What I would see as a woman having a problem with the child is when they go through the whole 9 months pregnancy and giving birth and all that. That is a grind. But if it's her spouse's child and it's basically by default by marriage, she'll be fine. She should be fine. She's still in shape.
I believe it's already been born a few months now.
Yeah,
so.
I think we're riding up closer to the point of a year here, Boone.
Yeah. So, but either way, she didn't have it herself, so she's not dealing with the drawbacks of pregnancy, childbirth. She's not dealing with that. So during this time, she's been training still. She's still focused on the craft. So she's never steered away from maintaining herself physically and mentally as far as keeping herself ready for a fight. I still think she's been able to keep herself in some type of condition. Like I said, Amanda Nunes was never pregnant. She never went through a 9-month pregnancy. She never went through a childbirth. She never went through no postpartum depression. No, none of that. She just has basically her child is based on the child of her spouse. So she should be fine. It should be no excuses for Amanda Nunes to not be Amanda fucking Nunes.
I agree. Totally agree. I think that she's going to, like I said, even if have maybe even a further ranking year higher than what she's already, or lower, sorry, I guess we're looking at it backwards, lower than what she said. I think she rolls through Megan Anderson. I think that sky's the limit for her, like my boy Dan, Lieutenant Dan in the chat is saying, bring the bots on, like we always say now. Like, I think it's a new thing now that Lieutenant Dan is saying, give the people what they want. We're about to talk about it. I think it's already only a good tie-in point because, she's one spot down. You know what I mean? And I think we've already kind of summed up Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko, and Dan's saying book Shevchenko, Nunes 3, and I'm in agreement. I think a Nunes.
Honestly, though, did you see the first 2 fights? It kind of sucked.
Yeah, I did see him.
I mean, look, it's. I think Nunes. I'll give my take on. Honestly, Surgeon. Sorry, I'll let you finish it up.
No, you go, brother. I was
because Valentina is number 6. She's right under Nunes. Like, she's right there. Nunes is 7. Valentina is 6. So I mean, let's talk about both of these ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Nunes will have a great year. I think she'll roll through Megan, but the problem is, the competition's running out. She already beat Spencer. She's gonna beat Anderson. The competition's running out. You could do the home rematch. You could do the Germain rematch. But Valentina, let's talk Valentina. I don't really like this fight. The first 2 fights were boring, and it's probably gonna be another really thin razor close fight that Nunes will find a way to grab. Not because she's better skilled, but just the overall bigger fighter. You know what I mean? I think Shevchenko, in my opinion, and you guys might light me up for this, as far as skill, as far as skilled woman fighters, she's the best. But Nunes got her twice. First fight, Shevchenko wasn't fully developed in the ground area, and then, second fight, obviously, I honestly thought Shevchenko won, but it's the size difference.
Yeah, Shevchenko is a 16-time kickboxing champion. Last time I checked, world champion. Lady can strike her ass off. She can scrap, but Nunes is a different dog, man.
Yeah, I want to book it. I'm saying let's book it. Let's get Shevchenko through a fight. Let's get Nunes through a fight. I want to see that third fight. Hey,
Shevchenko got to take care of Jessica Andrade first. That's going to be a good one, man.
I
don't know if she pulls off that performance she did against Jennifer Maia, where she lost the round. It was kind of it was kind of like minus 1,000 favorite. It was kind of a lackluster performance. Andrade might get her, but yeah, I got Shevchenko beating Andrade. It'll be a good one for sure.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a good one. I'm a huge Andrade fan, huge Shevchenko fan. I think that Shevchenko probably ends up taking that over Andrade. I think that she takes that fight over Andrade, like we said. Amanda Nunes takes the fight over Megan Anderson, and then we end up seeing. Hopefully, we end up at least booking it. Maybe if it's not even within the year, maybe it's to start out the new year. Oh, man, I do want to see the rubber match. I think that's what's entertaining to people as far as this point in their in both of their careers. Man, I want to see it. I want to see it. I'm into it. People. I don't know if you are. Man, I think it's one of those ones I'm kind of inclined to see, regardless if we see a kind of more boring fight. I am kind of more of a MMA fan as far as a whole goes. Like, I'm sure most of you are. Like, we appreciate you guys always liking and subscribing, hitting the bell to see when my boy TT Through the Boom In goes live. As far as subscribing to me, MMA Genie. I'm an MMA Bet Surgeon. He's at MMA Genie. Hit both of our bells as well, because we're always going live. We're always hitting you with new content.
Yep.
As far as this next fight goes, you want to roll right into it. It's one of Boone's favorites, so I'll kind of let him kind of kick this one off at number 5, and it's Weili Zhang.
Yeah, man, Weili Zhang. I like her. But before I go into it, I want to know, because we didn't say yes or no.
Yeah.
Amanda Nunes is gonna have a good year this year, yes or no, Serge?
Yes. I think that she's in the position she's all gonna have one.
All right. Jeannie, you think Amanda Nunes is gonna have a good year? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you think Valentina is gonna have a good year this year? Yes or no, Serge?
Do I think who? Sorry, say that one
Valentina.
time.
Valentina.
Oh, absolutely. I think both of them are in prime positions, regardless of if they have that trilogy fight, to have good years. I think it's yes, absolutely.
Okay, Gene, Valentina, good year or no? Yes or no?
Good year. That Jessica win, a big name, and whoever next. Competition's running out. Maybe we see a Nunes trilogy. I personally don't want it. Dan was arguing with me. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying I don't want it because both fights sucked. The Holloway Volkanovski fights, those are different because those were actually good fights. As a fight fan, I don't want to see it because the fights were garbage.
Right, got you. So both ladies look like they're going to have a good year. Zhang, I keep forgetting, Jeannie, who was that girl that she just fought? I keep forgetting her name.
Jennifer Maia.
Thank you.
Shit, Zhang?
Yeah, Zhang. I'm talking about Zhang.
You want a young J check. UFC 248 March.
Fight of the year. My fight of the year,
March
man.
Fight of the year. Fight of the year. Okay?
I'm gonna give that to maybe Poirier, Hooker, Figueroa, Moreno, just because in the Joanna Zhang fights, there were never moments in the fight where I said, "Oh shoot,
She's
the
going
referee's
down,
got to
yeah.
stop in. The
Yeah,
referee's got to
you're
stop
right.
in."
You're
Hooker,
right.
Poirier, and Figueroa, Moreno, there were multiple fights where I'm like, "Oh, that nasty rubber
True,
shot. The
true.
ref's gonna step in."
True,
Those
but-
girls were just training for 25 minutes. That's my argument, but
No,
all great fights, you know.
I somewhat agree with you, but at the same time, I feel like as far as those fights went, man, like, and I don't want to sound like SW Day or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm not a social justice warrior. I ain't anything like that. But at the same time, we got majority, and we haven't seen it recently, and I've seen it before in some older UFC, maybe not UFC, other kind of fight promotions, having some women judge these fights. You know what I mean? It's the same set of eyes going on these fights. And the one thing I kind of have to look at is, as far as I hear what you're saying, as far as one of them never being close to stopping it, is that a problem? Is that because maybe, you know, the guy's looking at them and saying, well, you know, it's these two more lighter women kind of throwing fluffer dusters at each other, kind of knuckle dusting each other up, when in reality, when you look back on the fight, any ref probably would have looked at that fight and said, Joanna's having brain swelling right now. We're gonna stop this fight regardless of how big that hematoma is, and maybe it's a goose egg.
I mean, I've never seen a fight where a person came in one way and they left. They look like, completely. I mean, you can still see when people get beat up. You can still see images of them looking like them. That woman looked like a totally different person. Like, she didn't even look like if you look at her walking before the fight and then after, you'd be like, them two different motherfuckers.
Yeah, I would
like,
agree.
It was crazy. But I honestly would say that Zhang, in my opinion, I say it was fight of the year. Not just because of the action. Because it was women. And you don't really see women trade blows like that. You really don't. You see a lot of women when they get hit, you know, because they're trained just like us. But if you look at a female fight, whether MMA, kickboxing, or boxing, the first time they get hit, they just start throwing. The next thing you know, they just throw it. You very rarely see a technically sound women's fight where two women are just I haven't seen that. I've never seen it. Maybe you guys have with women's MMA more often than I have, being more and more into boxing and MMA, and I'm just now converting over. But for me, seeing that was major to me, because I'm usually used to when a woman get hit good, then it's like everything goes out the window, all the technicalities, all the technique, everything just goes. They just finna go. But to see them just back and forth, bitch, like to see that back and forth thing between women, and it was such a master class to see. For me, it was nice. It was a nice thing to see. That's why I say it's fight of the year, because of the technicality, because of the class, and because we don't see that in women's combat sports.
As far as women's, most definitely fight of the year, but I'm gonna give it to Figueroa and Moreno.
Okay, I hear that. Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I think it's more so like the eyes, like what you're seeing. Like I said, I'm a true, and I'm not saying you're not, Jeannie. Like, I'm a true like fan of mixed martial arts and everything it has to offer. And as far as seeing those two women put on that kind of fight like that, I was super impressed. And at the same time, I had like Joanna Jędrzejczyk has been one of my favorite MMA fighters for before that fight, years before that fight. So I'm going to give you guys a quick little synopsis into the Weili Zhang, what I think she's at. And I'm going to go take another quick leak break, as they call it. But as far as Weili Zhang, man, I'm going to give this up quick. Man, she's got this next fight scheduled against Rose. I think Rose is one of those girls that really finds that way to find the weakness. She's what I would call like a kryptonite hunter. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's able to find that kind of thing that makes you not good and exploit it. So I think it's more so. Man, I don't know where to put it yet. I'm a huge, like, my boy Dan is huge Rose fan. I'm kind of like a Rose fan because she beat Young Jacek, but like it's Weili Zhang. She's only lost one fight, and I was just recently watching the girl that she's lost to, and the girl that she's lost to wants the rematch, and she's in ONE FC coming on a 4-fight win streak. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy, but that fight that she lost was like her first fight, so it's. Man, I'm probably gonna have to go with Weili Zhang. I agree with where she's at. I think that's probably. I think I'd probably swap her actually with Nunes, in my opinion. That's just me. I'd swap her with number 7 and move her to number 7. She ain't as well of a known name. You know what I mean? I know that.
I was thinking that too.
Right?
I wanted to cook on that with Jeannie because the next 4, I need you, sir. So you might want to go take that leak real quick. I wanted to cook on that with you, Jeannie. How do you feel about Amanda Nunes as being more accomplished in the UFC, being at number 7, and Zhang being at number 5? I don't agree with that ranking. I think it should be switched. I think Zhang should be at 7 and Nunes should be at 5. What do you think?
Excuse me. You're talking about the ESPN list?
Yeah, I was talking about the list. I was saying that because on the list they got Nunes as number 7.
Yeah. I honestly I agree with that somewhat because the Nunes, the thing with her is she's running out of competition. I mean, after Megan, who knows the Shevchenko fight? Shevchenko's got to take care of Andrade. We don't even know what's going to happen with that. So after Megan Anderson, there won't be much competition for Nunes to face. Whereas Zhang, she's got Rose, and she's not even scheduled with Rose. She's scheduled with Carla Esparza. So she's got Carla, who's on a great win streak right now. She's got Rose, and of course, there's always that Joanna rematch, and just a lot more of a stacked this division, a lot more of competition she can face. Whereas Nunes, after Anderson, I mean, who are you going to face? Maybe Shevchenko. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. More competition to face.
Do you think she's going to get that rematch with Joanna? You think she's going to take that this year, or you think she's going to push that further down the road?
Maybe late this year, maybe.
Do you see her? You see it being the same type of fight, or do you see Joanna pulling it out with the dub, or you just seeing it being a closer fight than the last one?
Man, it's so hard to determine because I guess I'll say somewhat the same fight, but I think there will be adjustments made by both women where it won't be as as much as that brawling fight, but still a great fight. Yeah.
Got you. So basically, you think Nunes is possibly she might retire soon? You think she's going to retire pretty soon? Maybe the next opponent, maybe their next 2 fights, she might retire.
Honestly, yeah, she was talking about retiring after that Felicia Spencer fight, but Dana quickly shut it down. He was saying, "Oh, I'm going to make a whole division for Nunes and whatnot." But after Anderson, after Shevchenko, honestly, I probably see retirement. I mean, who's there left to face? Who left is there for her to beat, man?
Got you. All right, my boy Serge is back. So we had our top four. And I'm going to start with you, Serge, because I already know Jeannie is going to fuck around and go for hours on this one. And I don't even think he number 4. I think they should have had him at least probably number 20, or probably from 20 to 15. I think they should have had him. But at number 4, at 15-3, we got the Nigerian monster, the African monster, and Francis Ngannou.
Man, I'm not going to lie. Boone, let's shout out to your pronunciations, man. I'm going to start putting the enunciation, you know what I mean, split it up, but I like it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hate on it because I like it. I like the different pronunciation, bro. But as far as Francis Ngannou being at number 4, and I was muted before, totally agree with you saying he should be pushed back. Man, the whole thing that I was looking at kind of before this fight and kind of before they had this whole thing scheduled is because now they're talking about it. And now kind of it's official, people. Dana White's been talking about it for the last little while. Stipe Miocic taking on Ngannou at UFC 260 Saturday, March 27th. Man, and here's the crazy part, people. And we'll cook on that after in a second. after I kind of get over Francis Ngannou as far as his whole kind of deal. Man, I don't know if he should be this high because originally I thought that John Jones should get this title shot. I thought that John Jones, as far as the UFC making money and the way that they do things, as far as them making money, man, let's give John Jones the title shot, and then we can throw both guys at him consecutively and make money off both fights. Here's the knockout artist, you know what I mean? Here's the guy who's lost the one fight to Stipe due to his inexperience in wrestling and maybe inexperience in MMA as a whole, and now let's get him the second try at a guy like John Jones, you know what I mean? I think that would have been way huger, but now, like I said, Dana White saying Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic is going to take place on March 26th, so man, I think that we see Stipe dominating this fight once again. I think that he showed a lot more than just what people thought as far as evading hard shots. He only just did that, but he showed levels in boxing, levels in wrestling, levels in MMA as a whole. I think that Stipe Miocic is vaguely disrespected in the MMA game, in the UFC game as a whole. And you know what? Stipe Miocic, this is the crazy thing I wanted to say the whole time, is coming in as the underdog in this fight. He's coming in as the underdog against Francis Ngannou after already beating him once. Like, come on, man. That's kind of disrespectful to me. So I think he should definitely be ranked a little bit further back. I don't think he beats Stipe, and then I think that his value diminishes further from there as far as getting him a John Jones fight after John Jones fights Stipe. Because like they said, John Jones, winner of those two. I think Stipe wins. I think John Jones fights Stipe, which I think should have been the original plan, and then they go on to a Francis Ngannou fight after that. You know what I mean? Once that happens, right? But kills a lot of their ends as far as marketing, but I know it's the MMA game, the UFC game, and they have the ability to dictate that kind of, you know what I mean, whatever they want. So that's it.
So you think he's gonna have a good year or a bad year?
Bad year, worse ranked than 4.
Ngannou.
Worse ranked than 4. Like I think 4 is way too high on a guy like Ngannou.
Got you.
Man, I think Ngannou will have a great year, man. I think he'll start it off with getting a round 1 knockout with Stipe Miocic. I mean, he's changed so much since the 2018 fight, you know. And Stipe, I mean, a lot of injuries, a lot of fights. He's
Shots fired! Wow.
a lot of fights he's declining, and it's going to catch up to him, and it's only a matter of time before he loses that belt. And I think it's in the hands of Ngannou. And then you've got the fight with Jones. He's going to be 4, and I honestly think he beats Jones. Also, I said it. I think he beats the GOAT. Just raw power. I mean, Jones, one of the he's going to be a smaller heavyweight, and I think Ngannou just forgets technique, just swings wild, and he's going to hit Jones once. You saw that. We've all seen the picture. Dominic Reyes landing a big hook on John Jones, a big uppercut. What happens if it's an Ngannou uppercut? You're going to sleep. So I think Ngannou's going to set up for a great year. You know, if he loses to Stipe, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Stipe's gritty. You might get him to the ground, but yeah, I got Ngannou having a great year.
Well, we got Serge saying it's not going to be so good, and we got Gene saying that he's going to have a good year. So, hey, we got to split 50-50. I'm in the middle. I say it depends on the Stipe fight. You know what I mean? And how he fights in the Stipe fight. Because he could still lose, and if he fights a good fight, like he makes a fight of it, that could still help him get fights later on to where it's not a total loss for him. But if Stipe rolls through him, if Stipe mops the floor with him, or just kind of make Ngannou not look like Ngannou, or you know what I mean, I see it being a bad year for Ngannou if he don't really make a fight of this Stipe fight. But if he makes a fight of it, I still think Ngannou will have a decent year. I still think he'll get some talks, because people fail to realize that even when you lose fights, if you lose in glorified fashion, like you made a hell of a fight, and it could be argued that prior to that stoppage, or prior to that submission, or prior to that decision, you won the fight. And I think if he keeps that type of mentality or that type of pace in the fight, I think he'll do fine this year. But if he gets washed by Stipe, I think he'll have a one of them shitty years. Now, at number 3, I cannot pronounce his last name. I can't. I barely could pronounce his last name.
Let's walk through it. I'm gonna have him ready next time.
Yeah,
We'll go through.
but it's Figueroa.
Davison Figueroa.
Yeah, Davison Figueroa at 21-1. He's number 3 ESPN as possibly having the best years this year. Number 3. Do you think that he will have the 3rd best year in MMA right now?
I don't know about number 3, man. I don't know about number 3. Obviously, he added that. Obviously, every weight class has that one fight. You look at light heavyweight, you got Jones Gustafson. Lightweight, you got Edgar Gray Maynard. He finally gave flyweight that one legendary classic fight. And honestly, man, call me crazy, I thought he looked past I thought he looked past Moreno in the first fight. I thought he was drinking a little bit of his own Kool-Aid, overhyping himself, and I think he comes in better. And look, Moreno's tough. He's never been knocked out, so it's either going to be an early TKO or a dominant decision. And then you've got the Garbrandt fight, which is it's a big fight, maybe a super fight with Peter Yan. So I don't know about number 3 year, but a great year for sure.
Got you. Has a good year, but not the 3rd best. Not the 3rd best. Good year for you, but not the 3rd best. Serge, what you think? You think he'll have the 3rd best year in all of MMA sports?
I think the top 5 is probably a good bet. I think that we've definitely seen better fight of the year kind of proponents as far as, you know what I mean, as far as for what we've seen earlier. Like I said, it's like a game of basketball. It's like a game of football. It's like anything. The guys are getting more athletic. They're getting more well-rounded. We see better fights as time goes on. We see better guys as time goes on. It's not a discredit to the guys that were doing this before and maybe putting on flyweight level contender fights like say it like a UFC like 152 when like Joe Benavidez fought like Demetrius. You know what I mean? Like it's all the way back in the day. You know what I mean? But like even still, like we've seen good fights. I don't think it was respected in the same way because I don't think the same emphasis was behind it as far as, well, these guys can put each other out. There's a real, you know what I mean? There's guys that can come in there and F people up and do this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? So as far as that whole thing goes, I do think that top 5 is definitely respected. I'm a huge lover of Davison Figueiredo and the power he brings to the division. Like Jeannie was saying, it did bring a lot of acknowledgement back to that division as far as, you know, what he's able to do, because I think that not enough people, like I said, recognized it before, or like they said they were going to kill it before. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the top 5 for sure. 3 maybe a little too high. I'd say top 5.
Okay. So what you think, Jane? How you think his year gonna go? Did you already go? You already said how you think his year is gonna go?
Yeah, I already said how Figueiredo, and I had to time out a fake Rachel Ostovich in the chat. I mean,
got you. All right, so we down to the top 2, and honestly, everybody in the world know who number 2 is. Everybody know who number 2. If you don't know who number 2, then I don't know what's wrong with you. He's arguably pound for pound the greatest MMA fighter of all time. Arguably the best UFC fighter of all time. I mean, you could argue his one loss that he had in his career. Technically, some people still think he's undefeated. And you already know who I'm talking about. If you don't know who I'm talking about Johnny Bones Jones at 26 wins, 1 loss.
The GOAT.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they got him at number 2. Johnny Bones Jones is going to have the 2nd best 2021. Gene, I'm gonna let you take that. Do you think Johnny Bones Jones will have the 2nd best 2021?
Yes, sir. And it's all if he can. It's all if he can get that heavyweight belt, because that solidifies his legacy. That really puts a stamp. Forget all the steroid accusations. Forget all the controversies. Him getting the heavyweight belt, immediately number 1 in the pound for pound rankings, immediately in my book already the greatest of all time, but being a 2-division champ, and then imagine beating Francis, or imagine beating the heavyweight GOAT right now, in my opinion, Stipe. Oh yeah, it's going to be a great year. And maybe later, look, I know it won't happen in late 2020, but I can dream of Johnny Bones Jones wrestling Adesanya to a close decision. Yeah, man, him getting the heavyweight belt solidifies his legacy. Maybe he defends it once or twice. Gonna have a great year, even just 1 win. getting that heavyweight belt speaks for itself. And great year.
Great, got you. I'm gonna cook on this one real quick, and I'm gonna let Serge go. What I think he'll have, I think he'll have a good year. Honestly, I feel like a Stipe win does more for him than Ngannou win, in my personal opinion.
And not in my opinion. Come on, Ngannou
Only
is
reason why I say that is because Stipe went blood, sweat, and tears with his arch nemesis. You know what I'm saying? And
but wouldn't that
if John Jones goes in there and washes Stipe, I think it would do a lot more. Only reason why Ngannou, everybody's so stripping on Ngannou is because he got so much punching power. He got this big pop, big punching power, and everybody's so sold on that. But past Ngannou's punching power, what does Ngannou bring to the table? And do you see Johnny Bones Jones being there for Ngannou to be hit? I see John Jones controlling the distance with Ngannou. And I also see John Jones smothering Ngannou when Ngannou wants to over-engage and try to let his hands go. I think he's going to smother him. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's not. And honestly, Ngannou is not the most athletic fighter in the world. He's very flat-footed, and he needs to be flat-footed to get that good punch output. Because the man can punch. I mean, the man can punch. But I'm saying it's one thing to be able to punch, but it's another thing if you're not gonna hit shit. And I don't see Ngannou having success on a fighter as athletic as a John Jones, somebody that's going to be moving and that's not going to be there to be hit. Stipe, Stipe, I think with him, he's a little more athletic. He's a little more sneakier. He's a little more craftier. You know what I mean? He's a little more craftier than Ngannou. Ngannou wants to stand there and bang with you. He wants you to be stupid. I don't see Ngannou ever trying to take you to the ground, trying to wrestle you, trying to submit you. Ngannou wants to get in there and knock you the fuck out, put you to sleep. Period. Stipe is a little more dimensions. Like if Johnny Bone Jones think he gonna keep Stipe on the cage, well, Stipe might turn his ass and do some other shit. You know what I'm saying? If Johnny Bone Jones think he's gonna try to control the range, well, Stipe know how to move a little better than Ngannou. Stipe is not gonna be as flat-footed as Ngannou. That's why I say that. And also, Stipe is is a two-time heavyweight champ. Two-time. You know what I'm saying? So beating a two-time champion should solidify you a whole hell of a lot more than somebody that's just probably just won it that one time. That's just my opinion.
He's got the record for most heavyweight defenses.
That's all I'm saying. I think Stipe is more accomplished.
I'm saying, though, bro. I'm into it. I agree with you, bro. I think that I don't know why the odds like that the way it is. Like, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, like I said,
this will knock out Jones. I'll say it.
That's fine, man. It's opinionated. That's why I love it. That's why we're having people on here. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's it.
The betting odds actually have Francis as a slight favorite, right?
Really?
That's what I said. People, you not listening to me? I said Stipe the underdog, man. I said if you're taking the man as the dog, we're disrespecting him again.
Right? Yes, you did say that.
Play that shit, Boone.
You did say that shit.
Play what you want me to play it, man. Play it.
Right.
Play the little sound effect, bro. Like, come on, man. It's disrespectful, man. Yeah. We're having the guy that's got the most heavyweight defenses ever in UFC history. Oh, come on, man. And we're going to name him after he's already beaten the guy. We're going to say, oh, you're still the underdog. What are you trying to do? Piss this guy off? Yes, exactly.
That's bullshit. That's why I say Stipe, to me, he's fought the better. Who's fought the better? Okay, I'll ask you this, Jeannie. Who has fought the better opposition, Ngannou or Stipe?
Stipe.
So, now as a boxing analyst and now converting to an MMA analyst, what I would believe is the person that has the better resume, you beat that guy, you solidify yourself in the division or in the sport when you beat the guy that has the better wins or has fought the better opposition. And if you were to pick out of Stipe,
let me ask you this. Who has the better resume, Lennox Lewis or Mike Tyson?
Lennox.
And which one would be better, Mike?
Which one? Because of star status. That's boxing politics. They'll go off of the star status over wins and accolades and all that shit. That's just boxing politics. We be all day on that with boxing politics. Because honestly, if you really want to look at that, Lennox Lewis would be the better win in boxing than Mike Tyson because Lennox Lewis has fought the better opposition but because Mike Tyson is the bigger star, you'll get more credit for beating Mike, even though Lennox Lewis has more accolades. He's won, he's fought the better opposition, he's beaten the better opposition of the two. And yet and still, a Mike Tyson win will give you more accolades and more respect than a person that's actually done more in the sport. That's why I'm saying, and in that sense, boxing is kind of flawed. In MMA, it's not like that. Because you will get the accolades you deserve for fighting a guy who has the more accolades, who has more accomplishment, who has fought the better opposition. You will get the respect that you deserve in MMA. That I give the respect, and I tip my hat to MMA for that.
Yeah, man, I totally agree, Boone. I think you're hitting it with you're hitting the fucking nail right on the head with the hammer, and I think that I agree with that. I think that, like I said, MMA, that's the beauty of it, man. We get these matchups that are pretty much very, very close, a punch away, a takedown away in certain cases, you know what I mean, that are so close that, you know, we can have differing opinions like this, you know what I mean, in certain other sports, and like I'll bring it up right now, and I don't really want to make it a huge topic, a huge debate, but certain other sports, man, we ain't able to get that kind of shit. It's just not possible. You know what I mean? It's so possible every once in a blue moon to see those fights get made. You know what I mean? And we're maybe hearing about it a little more now, but is it all just talk to keep? Oh, and there goes Boom with another shot. Is it all just talk? Is it all just talk to keep people maybe, you know what, on boxing a little bit and not, you know, fully, hey, UFC's putting on 3 main events in 9 days, people, and they're all bangers. They're all absolute, you know what I mean? Yeah, right? They're all good fights, you know what I mean? So it's like, is it all talk? Is it continuing? You know what I mean? I think we'll just put it at this. We'll cap it at this. UFC's offering the more kind of vibrant bunch, the more better spectrum of brunch to eat, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to look at what boxing's trying to offer is some fake omelet, you know what I mean, and go, oh, that looks pretty good. Well, then UFC's offering the full 9-course brunch special. So I think we'll just stick with the UFC, and that's why we appreciate them so much, is being able to make these kind of close fights and have the lines as close as they are. You know what I mean? So that's that for me. I think we can move on.
So basically, John Jones gonna have a good year, pretty much. And we gotta get to number one. And y'all know who number one. Y'all already know who's revolutionizing the game in MMA and UFC. He's the most famous, most known guy in UFC right now. Fuck Conor. He's the most talked about guy in all of MMA. ESPN got him number one. He's the most talked about, sought out, searched MMA fighter in all of combat sports. The style bender. Israel Adesanya. Who you got? How you got his year going? Come on, Gene.
Man, so he's obviously scheduled against Jan Blachowicz at the beginning of 2021. Man, I mean, that's a risky fight. Another fight where Jan Blachowicz is the underdog, and Jan could pull it off, man. Jan could pull it off. Maybe he takes it to the ground. But, yeah, I got Adesanya probably beating Jan. Late TKO decision, and then also you got Glover. You got Glover Adesanya, another big name for Adesanya, and then he could end it off with fighting John Jones. Probably won't happen, like I was saying earlier, but great year for Adesanya. He's gonna become a 2-division champ. I'm not even a fan of Adesanya. I don't really like the guy, but I respect him.
Why? Why you don't like him? What you don't like about him? I mean, it's not like, but I'm saying why you don't like him.
He can be kind of corny at times.
I
think we can agree, right?
Agreed, man. Hey,
Gotcha.
Genie, I'm kind of in the same boat that you are. Like, respect Adesanya for his skills and his ability, but can be kind of corny and man, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
he tries too hard with the trash talk.
Yes, absolutely. I think he should let his more natural side flow. I think his meme game, like I said, is as strong as it's ever been before he even entered the UFC. He could have probably just done that whole shit, not even done the bullshit talk, and kind of probably just progressed as much as he has as far as with the younger generation coming up. So I don't know. I like Adesanya at 1 though.
Adesanya is number one. So basically, we think Adesanya is gonna have a great year this year. God bless you. I see you. And I think he's gonna have a good year. I think he's going to be the next double champion. I think he's going to hold the light heavyweight belt and the middleweight belt at the same time. I honestly think that he's going to hold it, but I don't think he's going to be able to have a good time, as good of a time at light heavyweight as he had at middleweight. I think it's going to be more of a grind, and I think those dudes he's going to take a lot more punishment in those fights, like he did in the hints of a Gastelum fight, and I think he's going to be in a lot more wars than what he's prepared for. That doesn't mean that there aren't guys in the light heavyweight division that he can probably just go through with ease. But at the same time, I do believe that there are going to be some guys, or most of the guys there, they got enough pop and they got enough punch resistance to deal with him. And I don't think after for so long, I don't think he's going to campaign at light heavyweight too long. I think what he really wants is that John Jones fight. And I think the only reason why he even went up to light heavyweight in the first place was because he's trying to get John Jones. And I think he's just going to campaign there. He's going to win that belt there and to basically solidify himself. I honestly believe everything that Israel do, quote me on this, feel free. Everything Israel Adesanya does is for a John Jones fight. It's all to get John Jones. He wants to get that John Jones. John Jones. It's all to get the John Jones fight. Because that's all he talk about mainly is the biggest fight for him, John Jones. So it is what it is. And I think for Israel, his career, that would be fitting for him fighting Anderson Silva early in his career and all that, beating Anderson Silva. And I think having Anderson Silva and John Jones on your resume is I mean, how many people could say that they fought Anderson, the Spider Silva, and John Jones in their career? Win, lose, or draw. That's a lovely thing. Those are two lovely names to have on your resume. Lovely.
For sure.
So I honestly think that he'll have a good year. I think he'll have a great year this year. I just see him having a great year this year. So that's my take on that. And that's ESPN's top 15 fighters that will have the best year of 2021. And for our final topic, before we get up out of here, because we got to cook on this for a little bit, we have to talk about Michael Hooker versus Michael Chandler. We got to talk about that. We've already cooked on Conor and Poirier. If you didn't catch that, catch the playback game. Shout out to the playback game.
Yeah.
But yeah, we finna cook on Mike Chan fighting Hooker.
Yeah.
I think this fight is going to be better than a lot of people think. I think it's going to be a lot better than people think. I honestly think that Dan Hooker, is going to surprise some people. He's awkward. He's rangy. He's hitting you from weird angles, and the motherfucker don't know what quit mean. And I think Chandler has never faced, correct me if I'm wrong, Gene, because you keep up with Bellator a lot more than I do. I have not seen Mike Chandler fight a guy that is going to be as rangy and awkward. Now, granted, he's fought some guys that's been in the UFC and beat him, in the Ben Henderson and all that. Like, he's done that. I get it. But this is Dan Hooker, who has been in the UFC, maintained his career in the UFC, which is the highest level in all of MMA. So evidently, the motherfucker must be somebody. He must be something to maintain his career and solidify himself in the UFC for this long. Because Ben was there and he's gone there. He ain't there no more. A lot of fighters were there. They're not there no more. But yet and still, Dan's still there and he been there. So I think stylistically, it's a bad matchup for Mike. In my opinion, I think stylistically it's a bad matchup because I think Dan is going to pose some threats that Mike is not used to. I still got Mike winning split. I got Mike winning split. I think he's going to try to maul him, and when he gets him on against the cage or maybe possibly on the ground, he's going to want to hold him there because he ain't going to want to stand up with Dan. He's not going to want to do that. I think he's going to want to keep Dan. He want to smother Dan, catch him with some short shots on the cage, maybe get a little cage and pound, some ground and pound in there. But I don't see him winning the stand-up battle with Dan Hooker. I see him winning the clinch battle with Hooker, but I don't see him winning the stand-up battle with Hooker.
Yeah, man, I'll hop into that. I'd probably agree. I think that Michael Chandler's been talking a lot. I think that, man, like I said, I'm a huge Michael Chandler fan, and it's hard not to support the guy when he's making this big ramp in the UFC. What else are you supposed to do other than talk yourself up? You know what I mean? Like, other than start posting videos and saying, you guys are going to be ready for a show. Like, I'm the guy that's, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the guy you were talking about. I'm the guy people were making articles about. This is me coming into the UFC, blah, 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 blah. Like, I just think that Michael Chandler, he's got a couple other things he's got to he's got some stuff he's got to focus on going into this fight. He's got to take this fight seriously as far as knowing and respecting the skills of Dan Hooker, being able to take that fight where he needs it, which is probably the ground, and keep Dan Hooker down with good pressure. Like, it's safe to say that a guy like Dan Hooker's not going to be hard to, not going to be easy to gas out, but still, he's got to find a way to gas him out, whether it's through scrambling on the ground throughout the whole fight, clinches, takedowns, shots from there. He's got to find a way to do that. I don't think that he will win the stand-up battle. I probably agree. But I just have this crazy feeling that we're going to see like Boone said, a Michael Chandler split decision win. It's a perfect fight for Michael Chandler coming in. It's a perfect fight for Dan Hooker. I don't know, man. I think that... I don't know. I think it's good.
Gene, what you think of this Chandler Hooker debacle?
Well, I'll be picking Dan Hooker, man. I see a knee up the middle, getting it in the second round, man. Michael Chandler, he's yep, he's never really faced someone like Michael Chandler's never faced someone like Dan Hooker. Okay, he beat up Eddie Alvarez a few years ago, the great fight, and then he beat up past prime Benson Henderson. But other than that, I can't really name anyone that good that he beat, man. And look, Hooker's got that truck power, man, but I don't see him getting the takedowns. And knee up the middle. I'm telling you, a knee up the middle, that Hooker knee, it's gonna cause a knockout. I'm sorry, I can't talk about much of a breakdown. I didn't watch too much Hooker fights because I'm making my predictions.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do my tape study yet for UFC 257, so the breakdown is kind of whack, but Hooker knockout round 2.
Hey, if y'all want to see the breakdowns, subscribe to my boy MMA Bet Genie for the breakdown.
MMA Genie on YouTube.
Get his opinion on what he think about the fight. We're not getting the whole breakdown of the card. All right. So if you want to see the full breakdown, go subscribe to his channel, and you'll get the full breakdown. If you want another full card breakdown and you want some betting odds to the fight card, you already know where to go. This man right here, MMA Bet Surgeon. You already know where to go. So if you haven't subscribed to MMA Bet Genie, you need to get up on that. If you haven't subscribed to MMA Bet Surgeon, you need to get up on that. These two they know they shit. They break down all these UFC MMA cards, bro. They break this shit. I'm talking about they break the shit down to a T. So if you really want to get your MMA game up, your knowledge, man, go to MMA Bet Genie and go to my man MMA Bet Surgeon, man. Get your game up, get your mind right, bro. But we got Genie says he got Hooker. Me and Serge got Chan, split decision. It's gonna be a hell of a night. Fights. My man Serge is more likely. Hopefully, me and Serge will be able to cover it. If it's you said, it's gonna be like the same way that they did the Max Holloway fight.
See, people in the chat, you give me an answer to this one because I was looking it up and I was getting some weird times. Genie, I don't know if you know where this time is or where you're living at and what time.
9 a.m. Eastern time, the Wednesday card will start. So I wake up at 8 a.m. on the weekdays.
No. I'm saying the Saturday card. The Connor Poirier. What time?
Eastern time, I think. Let me look it up right now because
that's the one. That's the one I looked it up. I'm more confused about when it's starting. Is it starting at the same time as the last card? Because that would be
6:30 p.m. Eastern time, UFC 257 early prelim start.
Yeah, see, I won't be able to cover that 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That's, yeah, I won't be able to cover that one. Because the thing is, I'll be able to do the prelims, and as soon as the main event come, I gotta go to work.
Yeah, see. So in reality, like I said to Boone, I said, are they gonna make these main event guys, these big ticket guys, wake up early in the morning, their time to go do this fight? And it looks like Boone. Unfortunately, yes, they are. So people, come into my channel. We're gonna be doing this fight live, absolutely, just like the fight tomorrow morning. You'll be seeing me in something like 9 hours or something like that, people. So I'll be ready to go. We'll be ready to go. We'll be doing these fights. I hope everyone comes in and subscribes. I would really love for everyone to come in. I'm gonna post the live event, the live thing after this. Anyone's coming in, you can come in and tune in. I'm gonna send the link live so you guys can come in and tune in. We got a couple of greats in there too. Talk MMA live, possibly Jay Blues. It's gonna be an absolute a barn burner of a breakdown. We're gonna put some extra bets out there. Like I said, I only did the main card, so we're gonna be able to keep cooking on that, people. So I like Boone said, I hope you guys come in and realize what you're missing, and you know what I mean. Like come in and enjoy a little bit with us, because it's not only about making money; it's about having a good time. So like I said, it's a community environment. We're just trying to here to have a good time.
All right. Well, we got about a good 10 minutes left. Let's get to the chat real quick. Let's get to some little comments in the chat. I want to touch on some stuff, some comments I saw in the chat that I want to touch on. Not too much about Conor, because I don't want to spend too much time on that, because we don't got that much time to really touch on too much stuff.
Yeah, you don't even have to. Jeannie, the only thing I'm wondering is, what are your picks in the Chiesa Magny fight?
Let me pull up Tapology. I got Chiesa decision. I don't know if you know who these are. MMA prediction guru and DFS by the numbers.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
I
saw
did
your video, bro. I saw your video. I appreciate it. I should have shared it, but I appreciate your video. Everyone go check out the MMA Genie. He's working hard to get people that are very knowledgeable as well on his channel, so go check him out.
Yeah, UFC fighter interviews, UFC predictions, but I got Chiesa decision. Lazez knockout round 2.
Nice,
Villanueva
nice.
knockout round 1.
Okay.
Arujo decision. Nam knockout round 1.
Okay.
Murphy knockout round 1. I don't know though. I should switch it to the decision. I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Breeze TKO round 3.
I know you were on the Tom Breeze train. Yep.
Simone decision.
Okay.
Sumadarhi knockout round 1.
Nice.
Dalcha knockout round 1.
Okay.
Figueroa decision.
Nice.
Mike Davis decision.
Okay.
And Umar Nurmagomedov decision and
nice.
Yarat decision. I know I didn't pick too many underdogs. I only picked one underdog, and that was Chiesa, but I don't take underdogs for the fact to pick underdogs. I just pick them if I think they'll win, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where you're a little bit better than me. I sometimes end up fading into the whole underdog train because it's underdogs. But as far as my whole fight goes, actually it's the other way around for me. I see the main event being very close, like within a T, within that small hair. I think that if Chiesa is able to do a couple things and show us some stuff, he's able to win the fight. Ah, man, I'm just something about me tells me Magny's out here to prove something. He's out here to show something to people. Regardless of his knockout 4 fights ago to Santiago Ponzinibbio, he's out there to do something. I see a guy like Magny being the guy that's going to take that, so... I mean, that's that for that. As far as the other fights go, it's kind of a mix-up. I got Laziz as well, probably by knockout. I got the Montefiore Arroyo fight. It's a very hard fight to call for me. I would say don't bet on it, but I'd probably take... I don't know, man. I'm probably going to end up throwing some... I like Arroyo, but I'm probably going to end up with that odds like that. Probably going to end up throwing some money on Montefiore. The Villanueva, Viniscus, Castro fight. Very hard fight to call as well. Both guys looking in and coming into good shape. Man, I'm not sure about this fight as well, man. I want to take Viniscus, but of course, this guy's already 0-3 in the UFC, so taking him is an absolute risk. People do not fucking follow me. As far as flyweight goes, I actually have Matt Schnell taking Tyson Nam. In a barn burner of a fight. I mean, it's probably hard to tell. I mean, I think Tyson Nam's definitely got the ability to put Matt Schnell out of there. Bigger fan of Matt Schnell and his ability. Silva and Andrade. Ooh, that's definitely a hard fight to call. Man, I don't know. It's hard.
It looks like it's a pickle, bro.
Oh man, it's definitely a pick-up. I definitely say it's a pick-up. I probably take Murphy. Probably take Murphy in this fight. Honestly, probably take Murphy. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna give you guys now. And then as far as all the other undercard, I'll give you one fight. I do have Armari Akhmedov taking Tom Breeze and winning the fight via decision. I mean, it's not the craziest thing to say, but at the same time, the rest of my picks, people, I will be live on tomorrow morning, not too long from now, doing these fights. So come tune in. I would really appreciate it. I really appreciate the support. Like I said, I'll be dropping the link if anyone wants to join, post comments, talk to me. It's always available. So yeah, I appreciate it, people. Anything else you want to go over, Boone?
No, that's pretty much it, bro. We didn't went over
I think it's
everything
pretty
we
much
didn't need to
comments.
go
Yeah, I think
over,
it's pretty
man.
much comments. Yeah, a couple comments.
Yeah, man. I just want to thank everybody that slid into the chat, man. Thank everybody that came through to come and see us at the Combat Cannon. You know, I gotta thank my man MMA Genie. He's like the Adam Scheffler of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Any type of news we need, we gotta go to the Genie. Rub him 3 times. We got a wish coming through. So I want to just send a special shout out to the MMA Genie. Thank you for all the work that you're doing, man. You still hella young in this game, and you still got so much more to learn and so much more to grow into, bro. I can't wait to see the finished product. You ain't even half there. I can't wait to see it. I want to say God bless you. Thank you for coming on. You already know you're more than welcome to come on when we having a 3-person panel, or when you get any information, especially any new news or any big fights that's coming up, bro. You already know. Yeah, the Canyon is the home. So thank you, Genie, bro. I want to appreciate you, and you already know, Serge. It's always a pleasure. It ain't never been better.
I mean, it ain't never been better. We're gonna take this thing to the top. Like I said to Genie, like you were saying to Genie, I'm always open to doing some type of a news section. You come up with a good name for me. We do 10 minutes with Genie every episode.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like we do one of those kinds of things. You got the hot news. You got a couple hot takes. You maybe got a guy that you just interviewed that week, or a woman that you just interviewed that week that's got some hot take. And you know what I mean? That would be a beautiful thing to set up. Like Boom was saying, we do appreciate you coming on. We appreciate everyone in the chat. If anyone's got any comments now, you feel free to send them in, because we will answer them in the next minute or two. If not, we'll probably be...
Yeah, we'll probably get to the chat next week, because we wasn't able to get to the chat this week because there's so much to cover. And you know, we gotta. It was so much to cover this week. I mean, we didn't even get to the shit with one championship. I didn't get to talk about there. It was so much shit to cover. It was just like there's no way we could get everything in our podcast for this show. So next week, because the fights that I was going to talk about happening for one this week didn't happen. So I'm going to talk about the one championship fights next week and give y'all a post fight review on that, along with the fights that's happened tomorrow and the McGregor fight. So next week, tune in, because we got some fights to talk about now. We're not talking about top 20. We talking about fights next week, because we going to have a hellacious night of fights for the rest of this week. So once again, man, thank you everybody in the chat for sliding through. Shout out to the MMA Genie for, you know what I'm saying, bringing his brains and his mind to the game, man. I appreciate you. God bless you. Much love always. Absolutely. He'll be back as soon as possible. Don't even worry about it. As once again, bro, thank y'all for coming through.